And we're back once again in the Conqueror League. I am Wolfie Scratch, and I am joined by my good friend Freedom Potatoes. Y'all saw us last week with some plenty of League of Legends action. We are here with another best of 5 of Strawberry Hero, and as well as To the Moon Galatea. Galatea. Oh no! See, I screwed it up already. But how you doing, Freedom Potatoes? How you doing right now?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to get into this matchup. This is shaping up to be a close one, I think, between two teams that were, first and second seed in their groups respectively. Now that we're past the seeding stage of playoffs, that's going to be To the Moon Galatea is going to be our second seed, and Strawberry Ira sixth seed. But I think this is going to be a really close one. These players seem very evenly matched, so it really could go any way.
Yep. Everyone's hoping for the reverse sweep or best of 5 turning into the 5-game banger. We'll have to see how it goes on there, especially with how evenly matched up with all these are here. Well, we're going to go ahead and switch to something real quick. Sound I heard?
So, going into the series, I don't know if you've done any research oh wait, we got this. Sorry.
Yes, this is what I was, this is the lead into for the summer 2026 scouting grounds right here on the Titan Esports Discord at discord.gg/Titan Esports. It's from April 14th to the 23rd. Make sure to get involved. Make sure if you want to go ahead and compete in these leagues, these hype games, you want to be involved in that and more, go ahead and join up. That's a banger. All right. Well, Freedom Potatoes, before you were cut off by literally the whole scouting grounds, what do you want to be able to say?
I was curious if you have any predictions going into the series on, which way you think this one's going to swing.
I'm confident in. It's really difficult because they literally have the same exact, is it 5 win, 2 losses, right? It's like, this is like probably one of the most evenly matched stuff with the first and second seed. This is like the kind of bangers that you want to see within these playoff games. I have my bets that'll probably go to a game 4. You know, my brain says game 4. My heart says game 5. The one who wants to go to bed is game 3. So we'll have to see which one will be ending up on here. I think it's going to be Strawberry Hero. I think that I've looked at their picks. I looked at their previous games. I've got some high hopes for all of those members. And we look at the draft, there are already plenty of interesting bans. And keep in mind, the patch did drop. So there were some minor changes, not any huge changes that should affect too many of these picks.
I think the big changes from the patch that stood out to me were the changes to Ornn and Nami. I feel like those champs get a pretty decent amount of play in this league, in this kind of skill bracket in general, for being very stable. But a first pick Fiora is not something I see every day. That is a surprise. That is a Dwango Unchained coming out swinging with that first pick there.
Dwango or Wango, I don't care. It's up to those whoever to go in there, and they're gonna go ahead and match that with the Aatrox. This is like some old-fashioned, egotistical top lane picks that are going against each other. This is the, are you gonna go ahead and try to get the parry on my knockup, or are we gonna have a nice fight to the 1v1? I think it's really insane to first pick Fiora. That's kind of a really big flex of showing how much faith you're putting into your top laner, by the way. Yeah. But we're gonna see the Wukong picked over a very standard jungle pick, and it's gonna be Zyra as the support. Potentially, I doubt it's going to be a jungler. Could be though.
Could be. I mean, has that good clear speed, but yeah, I mean, Fiora is a very skill expressive champion, and we're seeing the Sion pick now, which tells me that could be a Fiora mid lane, maybe, which would also be a very spicy pick. But in any case, it's pretty rare to see the solo laners pick up so early, and we are also seeing that Sylas presumably going to go over to Vincent there. I guess that could be Sion mid also, now that I think about it. I believe that is a pick that Mint has pulled out before in the past. So it could be, tank mid with the Fiora carry top. Either way, yeah, solo lanes being drafted this early, kind of atypical, but I like the kind of ego check that we might be getting in this first game here.
And we're going to see the Victor banned away. A very strong champion in own rights. Didn't even need Arcane to really, get that character going. And we're going to see Tryndamere going to go ahead and struck away. I think I already started to see, the top laner ban. I could see maybe where Tryndamere could go, but a Nautilus ban, one of the strongest supports out there, especially with the hook, and the amount of CC that everyone should know at this point. We'll have to see what the response is for Strawberry Era.
Okay, that is
Ooh.
going to be the Mel picked up for Yuri down in the bottom lane. Probably going to be or I assume that's where that's going anyway. I mean, there could be some weird flex picks going on, but I assume they're just kind of going in order down the list so far. And now we're seeing the Senna picked up by To The Moon Galatea. So that even opens up the possibility of a Scion Senna bot lane.
Scion.
Okay. I'm now getting word that this is not actually the order in which these champions were drafted. So this is we are actually seeing the final order here, not the order the champions are picked on. Unfortunately, I don't think it was actually the Ego Fiora first pick, but
that would be crazy.
For a moment there, it was very exciting. So now we've got things swapped around a little bit. We can see the order. So it was actually the Scion first pick, Fiora last pick To The Moon. Yeah, and okay, and then the Wukong and the Mel. Yeah, that's a little more standard, but it is going to be the Senna Alistar bot lane and the Bard Mel bot lane. Both slightly unusual, but a lot of CC, a lot of scaling down there in the bot lane, and a lot of beefy frontliners up on the top side for both teams. And then this Zyra, who loves to eat through those health bars.
I was expecting the Scion Senna bot lane. I know there's a lot of shenanigans you can do with when you're able to get the was it the Senna, the W, was it Last Embrace? You're able to get that and get on a minion and shoot it over. But we'll have to see how it works out there. Mel in the bot lane. I think the Bard pick is really interesting as an accompanying support. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that one? Because that's the one that's a little bit of an outlier for me in the bot.
I mean, Bard is like the ultimate wildcard support to me. A Bard that knows what they are doing is terrifying, can be anywhere on the map, can engage from screens away, can protect the carries. I think he is a joy of a champion to watch, and I think he synergizes pretty well with the Mel also. He can use the Cosmic Binding to set up some of that follow-up CC for Mel. He can create a lot of space for her to do her thing, giving her move speed, slowing the enemies down, and kind of, if he lands a good ult, Mel can throw that Solar Snare through the whole pack and get a massive wombo combo off. So I am liking the Bard here, but I do think it's a pick that, requires an experienced player to pilot it. And I do see that Loveless has a couple games of it under his belt this season, so hopefully that's a nice comfortable pick for them in this first game here.
We'll have to see. The Silas was picked as well. Not too many of like the strongest ultimates in the game to steal from. I think Zyra will be a huge part potentially, and as well as the Alistar, it's going to give you plenty of that beefiness. But it's not like the nightmare situation where they pick Silas into your Malphite and you're screaming at your whole entire team about why we didn't strike away this potentially, game losing, pick, of where we can just instantly just get shredded away. But we're going to go ahead and see the Scion mid. It's been a while since I've seen this pick. I'm not going to lie.
It's a pretty safe pick in the early game. A lot of mid laner champions kind of struggle to bully it out of lane. If you go that Doran's Shield second win, you can kind of just soak up the damage, farm the minions, and get tanky. But it does require some other damage sources, unless you're going lethality Scion, it doesn't really scale up in the damage department, more as a frontliner. And so I think with the Fiora and the Zyra pick, hold the phone. So it doesn't have the most damage later in the game, but does have enough to get a first blood before that second wave has even arrived in the mid lane there.
What? We're in the big 2026 and we're underestimating Scion damage early. I think that's crazy, but what a parry coming in. That's going to get a free stun positioning, and Spoopert was not really ready for that one. Plenty of these weak spots hitting, but you're eating a tower shot. So the trade does even up. Aatrox does burn a pot. Both of them should at this point. But a lot of these 1v1s happening already. A flash forward, Wang Unchained. Surprise, surprise. You need to be careful of this burst damage that Fiora is capable of.
And Fiora is not a pick that is, too common, not a staple pick. So I think a lot of people do underestimate her damage. And we saw just there, she's also, Dwango is running the Ignite. So that helps the solo kill potential even more in the early game there. And another fight mid.
Oh no, and you cannot be fighting against a Scion with grass. Plenty of damage thrown out. And as well as both of them burning that TP. Cole bought out by Scion, so gonna go ahead and get that farming game going. But that's rough for Silas, having to TP back down to catch the wave and not buying any additional items because how early you died and the state of the wave. This is one of the roughest starts for Silas, and Scion can compete if you're not careful, as we literally saw at the first blood of the game.
So, and I think the Silas is a pick that can compete with the Scion as the game goes later, right? Once he has access to a bunch of ability haste and AP, he can sustain through these fights and duel the Scion easily. But if you're not careful in the early game, you can get put behind on that curve. And if you never reach that point where you can just kind of win the extended trade 1v1, it's going to be a tough time for Vincent there in the mid lane. So really great start for To The Moon Galatea, who, by the way, I learned an interesting fact earlier today, was To The Moon has not won a game one this entire split. They were first seed in their group, and they have lost game one every single time. So that is they're maybe looking to break the curse here, though. They do have those 2 solo kills on the solo laners in this early game. Off to a great start. We'll see if they can keep the momentum going forwards.
The Regigigas, you gotta have that slow start, being able to just gotta start it off. We'll see how it is able to convert on bot lane. Stable as per usual, not gonna be the fasting Senna. Riot has been very, 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 very adamant on keeping that buried into the ground, but we'll have to see as it continues on. So I'm gonna go ahead and buy more MR. This is what I'm expecting. And as you said earlier, once we get to the later games, that's where Silas starts to become a huge threat in these 1v1s, especially with that Conqueror. But in the early game, you really got to be careful of this base damage that the Scion has going. And Mint, that 1v1, honestly, it felt like that Prowler's Claw was back as a level 1 item, and Vincent just kind of felt the brunt force of it.
The Scion base damage is, as you said, so potent early on. And, Grasp also extremely useful in those short early game trades to get that extra damage and sustain. Okay. We've got the little picture-in-picture down bot. I thought we might be seeing some bonus action there, but just some normal old trading as TTMG does try to set up a bit of a freeze here. Their jungler is on the other side of the map, though, so mostly just going to kind of make it uncomfortable for Strawberry Ira to play that lane. They don't have vision down to know where Giggity is on that Zyra, but so far this early game has been pretty quiet for the junglers, but that might change in a moment here.
Oh, and hopping directly into the charge, a flash forward, a flash for flash, a 1-for-1. That's a crucial resource burn. So now Vincent is in a little bit of trouble. Mint, understanding that the Silas will not have those kind of gap closers access anymore. And once again, the parry, you really have to be careful with this Aatrox. The Infernal Chains will only be able to bring you down. There's an Unchained for a reason on this Fiora's name. Ignite is just burning down, ticking down. But Spoobert will be able to walk away, but aiding so much damage. This Fiora might be getting out of control, and I'm afraid of how much damage she will have at the end of this one. But we're going to have to see a gank attempt. No. Oh, the jungler presence has been there, and we're going to have to see as well, because I feel like the Senna Alistar ball lane is going to have so much sustain.
They have ridiculous sustain, but I thought there might have been a window for CJ Lopez to go in there, as CU did go in with the headbutt there. Uses it again just as the Wukong leaves, too.
Perfect jungler timing, and now all of a sudden they're flexing up to try to get a trade, but everything misses. Cosmic Binding finds no one, and already moving it on forward. A heal finally does get used and burnt away. But these trades at this point, you can just shrug this one off. So you just say, hey, we're going to have so much sustain within this bot lane. Potentially your jungler could be hovering around, but we're going to be able to play so safe and have such a free disengage that it's going to be really up to you to respond.
So now, just kind of taking a step back to assess, well, okay, the CS numbers just disappeared, but I was going to say that despite this early solo kill, Spoobert has been keeping up pretty nicely in the CS department. Still is going to be a matchup that I think just struggles for the Aatrox as the game goes on. Once Dwingo gets ahead, it's going to be pretty tough for Strawberry.
No. Oh, that is another parry. Caught you lacking, caught you slacking. Here come the weak points. The duelist dance is going to get you down. Flash as a consolation prize for already hard-earned victory. this top lane might be getting out of control, and we need to be careful as to go ahead and see a scrap between Mint and Vincent. Silas trying to go ahead and compete it out with this damage, has the Dark Seal, both supports lingering on the bot side, stolen away ultimate with that, but should be able to survive. Everyone is lingering on. Your headbutt pulverize still available. Here comes the set a shot all the way from bot lane. Cyclone burnt as well. A mini scrap in the mid lane, but nothing to really be accomplished except a burned ultimate.
And you can see already, despite that solo kill, Vincent was competitive in that 1v1. It was looking like, if that trade had gone on a little longer and the supports and junglers hadn't shown up, that could have been a solo kill for the Silas. Very close though, and then with the amount of people that showed up, no kills, just a bunch of summoner spells and ultimates burnt. Not a bunch of summoners, I guess, just the flash for the Alistar, I believe. But anyway, we see Giggity is up on those Void Grubs on the top side. If those go over to the moon, that is just going to unleash the Fiora even more as a side lane split push threat, and that is not what Strawberry Ira wants.
Strawberry Ira, I think they know it's happening, but it's really hard to stop, especially from how healthy Zyra jungle is able to be and a consistent threat, especially with level 6. Those plants are just going to tear right through you. So as you mentioned earlier, the split push pressure that Fiora is going to go ahead and become is a dangerous thing, a mid lane trade, but another pair, I think that stun missed. So Spoobert will finally be able to dodge it out there, not die for those interactions, but we need to be careful. Here comes a big trade, however, plenty of damage. Once that parry is down, that's green light.
The parry timing is crucial to this lane, and as Aatrox starts to get a little more haste, it can open up a little bit more variety in the trading windows. You can try to kind of bait the parry. If he even kind of deliberately miss the CC part of his combo in order to open up an extended trade that's more favorable to him. But in the mid lane,
oh baby. But here comes the Conqueror stacks. Here comes the Silas, and the whole team is soon to follow. Oh no, caught out there. Great cosmic binding. Trying to survive, but Giggity's got no place to run and no flash to be utilized. But Headbutt Pulverize does find Yuri. The Mel's got to run away, and the Reflector. Oh my goodness, the minion has the shield. Being able to stop it out there, but let's take a look at how this happened.
So the Zyra jungle is doing a great job in the clear speed department, up a lot of CS, but this is still a squishy ranged mage. If you get jumped on, you are going to be in for a world of hurt. And you can see here Giggity clearing the camp, walks right into Loveless on the Bard there, and then, just gets 2v1 down real quick.
At least she got the Raptor, I'm pretty sure. I think
I saw that. Plus 35 gold, I think, did go to the Zyra, so worth in a sense, perhaps not really, but also Loveless doing so much damage with the electrocute on the Bard.
Oh my goodness! And also, speaking of damage, look at that one. Oh, the parry was baited out though, so here comes a nice little ender, the World Ender being able to get kicked in, and all of these, but the ignite ticks down and the heal thing opens. Fiora being able to get all the ticks and as well as all the damage. That ignite is a killer.
The ignite plus the ultimate, the grand challenge from Dwango Unchained makes what looked like a close fight. Solo kill, but
oh wow, Vincent lived. That's crazy.
Sliver of health there for Vincent. The Stranglethorn's just barely not up for Giggity, I think, when that play went down. So the Silas will live another day, but this is going to open up a big window for Mint to take a chunk off of these turret plates if he wants to. Is low on mana though, so probably wants to just reset and come back to lane here.
That's exactly what you got to do. Play it safe. You don't know where the jungler is, and keep in mind on the vision, plenty of lights down in the bot lane. Great stuff by Strawberry Era, being able to make sure that none of them are going to get ahead and get ganked. The bot lane has been pretty stable. There has been nice little scraps and nice little gank attempts. I think Loveless was able to force out the flash on Fortune with a great little tempered fate, so we'll have to see what will happen, because that is a prime target, and CU is just constantly just butting it away. But here it comes, and a great sidestep with the Umbral Dash from Aatrox to able to dodge that one out, but that's plenty of damage, and both ultimates on these carries are going to go ahead and get burned. But once again, the 1v1 in top lane, these weak points are a killer. The flash away didn't get the final hit.
Flash away, maybe a little preemptive. It was looking scary for Spoobert, but he does live, and it's scary for Vincent now in the mid lane.
Oh my goodness, I think you're just gone, right? There's nothing you can do just yet, but the Kingslayer healing was just enough. But thank goodness the Strangle Thorns was the insurance policy that the Sylas will pass away. Spoobert gonna go ahead and TP to this top side. Oh my goodness, Ravenous Hydra already purchased on Fiora.
Yeah, even though there were some, maybe minor slip-ups, I think Spoobert was starting to, juke away from some of those Fiora parries and things like that. The item difference is just too huge. There's no way the Ninja Tabi alone is enough to overcome that Ravenous Hydra, and now that Dwango has gotten another reset in and gotten those plated steel caps of his own, still just going to be able to continue extending this lead. And the solo lanes in general are going all TTMG's way. That is going to be a major problem for Strawberry Ira, because you have two champions that are so strong on the split push there. And while the bot lane is a potential win condition for Strawberry, I still am a little worried for them that, the solo lanes are just going to be the difference maker here.
Oh, and once again, another fight happens in the top side. Spoobert just barely able to get away. World Ender to escape. But that's just not a good sign. And we're going to see Giggity as well lingering in the top side. So the general rule is that once you see the jungler there, the opposite side is where the other jungler can be. And the Scion push, this is what we are expecting. Eats a few tower shots, but can just easily shake it off. And we'll have to see what we'll do, because I think this Kingslayer on this Sylas is going to do plenty of damage and healing.
Kingslayer is doing work, but that Scion already has an Executioners and the Empowered Merc Treads and Hollow Radiance, so he should not be taking very much damage from Vincent for a while. Hextech Rocket Belt has been completed, and we do have the first turret of the game going down to Dwango up in that top side. CU keeps looking for these trades, but it is hard to get onto a bot lane with so many defensive tools.
And we're gonna see Mint gonna go ahead and take that mid tower. Keep in mind this is a 2-level gap. Here comes the Wukong. However, jungler pressure gonna go ahead and get absorbed. Great little whirling cyclone. That's a missed parry. That's gonna be a dead Fiora shutdown. Goes into the favor of Wukong. Plenty of gold in the pocket. But because Sylas was baited in there, no Kingslayers were able to save you from that kind of fate. Rift Herald spawns and a good scoreline for To The Moon.
To the Moon up almost 5,000 gold here, 4 kills. They are down that Drake, but here comes Giggity Bot.
Oh, buddy. That's a whole CC chain you just can't escape from. Loveless has gonna get another lease of life probably in the next one. Fortune gonna go ahead and get plenty of the turret plane. Is even able to angle that one to stop the back. So Yuri gonna go ahead and have to clear this wave. Finally get another back, but this dragon should all be for free.
Dragon score going to be equalized unless some sort of steal can come in from CJ Lopez, but looks like he is just going to go farm his top camps. And yeah, the game so far swinging heavily into the Moon Galatea's favor in game number 1 here. Oh, Fortune, you got to get those souls from the dragon, maybe. Or maybe there was a cannon minion that was about to die. In any case, these objectives should start really swinging even heavier into the Moon's favor unless Strawberry Ira can get some sort of sneak off. The gold lead is just too big for Strawberry to take it an even fight. They need to find an overload, and here comes another one. And
a missed parry once again, so Dwango Unchained trying to get away, and the Q did not hit. Dual Lance, oh my goodness, it could have been real scary. Let's see, you're gonna go get a headbutt, but Mint all alone, a 3v1. Oh, great prediction with the decimating smash. It won't be able to mean up to something. That's a fat shutdown for Mel, however.
Mel is one of the big win conditions for the side of Strawberry Ira. There is a lot of MR stacking on the other side, but those are 2 kills that Strawberry Ira desperately needed. They get the shutdown on the Scion, and they stall out a lot of that pressure from the Fiora, who has twice now given over a kill on the top side, kind of overextending when the team wasn't really in a position to punish it. There is going to be the Herald picked up by To The Moon Galatea, which I guess is kind of the trade, the punish for that play. And if they can use that to open up the map even more, that is going to be able to extend their gold lead. But for now, gold lead has shrunk from around 5k to about 3k in the favor of TTMG, and there might be a fight down bot side here.
Looks like they're gonna go ahead and push away. Yeah, it just felt a little weird because it's like as a top laner, you should know that the jungler is lingering topside with that being the only objective that was like on the map. So a little bit of a headstrongness. You just need to be careful because you may be stronger than 1v1, but those 2v1s, especially when we're not seeing these parries hit, that is when things get really dicey. We'll have to see what the adjustments are because this Fiora is super strong. We have yet to see those strengths finally unleashed, especially with a few items. Need to be careful to not feed these kills over.
And looking down bot, I'm noticing some interesting itemization. We've got the Blackfire straight into the Void Staff for the Mel. We're going to be trying to chunk through that MR stacking on the Scion, but it is, you know, even with that, he's still very tanky. Takes a while to get through, and because of that, it seems like Loveless has opted to go for the Leandries to try to get through those tankier health bars, but it just feels like a lot of itemization for the Scion when, you know, there are other threats on the team. I think being able to kill Zyra and Senna is going to be important. Gank top, not gonna work out this time.
Yeah, I was a little bit afraid, and yeah, I guess Lulu would be happy, right? That tasted purple. Plenty of purple items right in that Mel. Favorite color, be able to go ahead and get unleashed. But Leandries as the first item, great parry. That's gonna be plenty of damage. You cannot be going for that with Spoobert, and it's just gonna be all but over. Great job. But Wango Unchained needs 2 more players to respond to this Fiora, and the chase down happens. I think the Wango will be able to go down. Wango or Wango, it don't matter. That's plenty of stuff, but Yuri eating plenty of this damage, trying to throw it out back at mid, but here comes the ult. Both of them targeting onto this carry, and I think that's all for not Yuri. Will not be able to escape. Fiora will finally be able to go down. Wango Unchained, but that's so much pressure being able to be absorbed on the other side of the map. Mid tower's taking so much damage.
TTMG are getting a lot across the map. It takes 4 members to bring the Fiora down, and so it should be a turret in the mid lane and the bot lane.
Ooh, and a tempered fate.
There's still a TP from Spoobert.
Oh, Spoobert just on time. Will be able to miss the first one of the Darkened Blade. So that's just going to cut this chase short. See you. She's going to go ahead and step away. Still, we'll be able to survive. Great heal, forcing the flash. We just have to use the Unbreakable Will. And now because you didn't burn ult, you're having to burn a key summoner spell.
That flash is so crucial on the Alistar, and while Unbreakable Will is also an important cooldown, it's a much shorter cooldown, and there's not really a reason to fight, I guess, for these next 45 seconds. The dragon will be up, so if that Unbreakable Will can get some value at that fight, then, you know, maybe we'll be eating our words slightly, but wait, how is a Cloud Dragon spawning when Cloud Dragon was second dragon? That might be a visual bug, but anyway... To the Moon Galatea are back at that 6,000 gold lead mark. They are putting a lot of vision and a lot of pressure down in this bottom side jungle as Yuri might be getting caught. No. Not quite going to be found there. And I feel like the Void Staff, while it helps with the MR stacking, you need a lot of haste to keep these melees off of yourself.
And as well as the stun, is able to be thrown out. Well, here comes a scrap in the bot side. Aatrox, plenty of damage, in trouble. Grand challenge has been gained. Plenty of healing, and already the Wukong trying to close in on Fortune, but will be able to dodge out of that one. Has to use the Cyclone to just try to get away. A whirlwind of pain, but not for the enemy team. So much damage pumped out. This dragon should be able to be secured, and that's going to be not the Cloud Drake. It's not going to be that little visual bug in there. Instead, it's going to be Chem.
Yeah, the Chem Drake. Chem Soul would be very nice for the Scion and the Fiora in particular for To The Moon. And it's still going to be a while till that Soul is really in play. This, you know, we're at 21 minutes, and it's only the second Drake for their side, so still can buy a little bit of time for Strawberry Ira if they are able to slow things down and kind of try to hold on to those last few turrets, keep their base alive. But that is going to be a challenge with this 5-3 Fiora running around the map, as well as that very strong Scion.
Yeah, and they gotta stop letting the grand challenges for this Fiora to be unleashed. 1v3, this is what you have to do, but the Grand Challenge does get issued. Can you get the healing down? No, and not even Fortune's ult. The Dawning Shadow will be enough to take it. This is the pressure that we were expecting to go against Fiora. That's like the most like godsend thing where it's like, hey, you have to send more than 2 members down to deal with me. That absorbs a lot of pressure, but free kills like that one is not what you want.
The pressure is, you know, it's meaningful if someone's in a position to capitalize on it, but at this moment, To The Moon was just farming mid lane, Sion just starting to get this push going down bot, and Zyra clearing her camp, so nothing really earned back for the side of To The Moon off of that play. Ooh, nice sidestep from Loveless to dodge the decimating smash, but...
Oh, it might not be enough. Oh! Oh no, Magical Journey! But are you whimsical enough to survive? Yes, you are, and I love that from Mint. Try to use every single part of the map to try to get that decimating smash. Will not be able to get it, but look at this established territory, pushing into the enemy jungle and warding it up. They're gonna slowly choke out Strawberry Era, and they're gonna lose a lot of resources, and as well as the Wango Chain is right back in top lane, basically saying you're gonna have to send 3 members to deal with me.
And this time Mint is in a position to capitalize on it. So if Strawberry Ira invests heavily into that top side, they might be losing a decent chunk of their base. Oh my gosh, Vincent, be careful.
Yeah, you gotta be careful, and they're gonna go ahead and send 2 members up there. Whoa, what are we doing? Just gives it up like that one? Wango Unchained goes down, but that's completely worth. There's so much damage on this tower to get down there. Silas, you gotta be careful. No Kingslayers ain't gonna save from that one when you have no mana.
So another fun fact is that Dwango Unchained actually has the most deaths in the entire league, and we're maybe seeing why. He is kind of relentless on that split push, taking every fight he can, but nevertheless, you know, is getting a lot of value on it, but still, that scoreline going down to 5-5 is pretty tough for the Fiora. It is going to slow him down a lot, and Mint, speaking of slow down.
Yeah, this is gonna be a lot. Mint does not have much mana to go. Oh my god, that did so much damage. Decimating Smash doesn't find its mark, but a flash for Flash is completely worth, especially not having that kind of summoner spell on Mel. That's a huge amount of trouble.
Mel does a lot of damage, but Sion is even tankier, feels perfectly fine in the 1v2, does have to blow the flash, but gets one back, and that's just, yeah, such an important cooldown for Mel to be able to play her game. Now Fiora and Sion have opportunities to try to find that carry. One of the few members of Strawberry Ira that is really in a position to still kind of carry the game and pull it back for them. I think CJ Lopez also quietly having a nice game, 3-0-2 on the Wukong, but needs follow-up from the team to really be able to make magic happen here. And so far, hasn't quite happened for Strawberry Ira, but this Baron or this Dragon that's spawning in a minute and a half might be a pressure point here.
And speaking of pressure point, Vincent, try to put it down. Do you see this tickling that's happening again? The Silas versus, oh, and here it comes. You've made the beast angry. Gonna have to steal away that ult and drive away. Tail tucked between your legs. And also, Potatoes, let's be real. If you're Giggity, you're having the time of your life right now. You just get to AFK farm, 240 CS, you're happy, putting all this pressure down. See you, she's gonna go ahead and having to pop the ult. Great stuff to use the Protobelt to escape, but Vincent having to send a TP there as a defensive tool. Is that Baron being started as well?
Baron is being done, and Mint is just taking up these 2 members on the side lane.
Oh my god, Vincent, no, you just can't die to that one. Has to burn the flash to get away. They're gonna go ahead and get the turn. Great little headbutt, pulverized to get the flash in there, but Wango Unchained does go down. This is where CJ Lopez can really be able to get all of that pressure. This is where all that damage can come into play. Baron, I think, is gonna get leashed up. Mint was able to take down Silas, and that's gonna be a Baron for Strawberry out of nowhere. A choked up Baron, and that's gonna be an ace out of nowhere.
That is an absolute shocker. We're gonna get a replay of this Baron. I mean, Mint was fighting 1v2 up in the top lane, but the 3v4 is still a fight that a Strawberry Ira is able to take. I mean, the Baron just deals so much damage, and these Baron debuffs also so strong. So with the AoE damage from the Mel and Wukong, it is ultimately a fight that Strawberry Ira is able to take. Alistar is also very separated from the team here. And so even though the Tempered Fate goes wide, you can see just the amount of damage that CJ Lopez gets done, layering that with the Mel ultimate. gets that first big kill on the Fiora, and yeah, from there, the rest of the team's just trapped in the pit. So,
Oh, no, there's
yeah,
nothing. I just wanted to see this fight.
it was close, but yeah, now Strawberry Ira find themselves in a very playable position, only down 2,000 gold. And because of the timing of that, they were also able to get themselves a second Drake. So they've stalled out that potential soul stack that To The Moon Galatea had going. And I didn't get to actually say my prediction for this series, but my prediction here was that, you know, if To The Moon can break that game one curse, I think they can win the whole thing. But if they can't, might spell trouble for them.
Oh, and I sense danger. You're gonna go ahead and get a nice pickup of gold. Kingslayer trying to be able to get utilized, but Vincent will be going down. But in exchange, you're going to get the mid tower 1-4-1. In all honesty, if you look at the data of this match, like purely not watching it, and you just see the Baron being taken, you're as a coach, you're definitely scratching your head like, what happened here? How could this potentially happen when he had such a big lead, when he had so much pressure absorbed, 2 mid towers down? They should be able to go ahead and run away. Oh my goodness. In that last fight, that was the power of Wukong. Sage Lopez just needed that one fight to really show off how strong this character can be, especially with all those items finished.
The Black Cleaver in particular is going to be huge for the Wukong, and you can see, you know, Mint has so much magic resistance on the side, but no armor built really yet. So that Wukong and Aatrox are major threats to him. He can be very good into the Sylas on the side lane, but if To The Moon isn't able to control the waves and kind of, you know, take control of which laner is fighting their opponent, you know, the Aatrox can do fine into the Scion, and if, you know, as long as Vincent doesn't go down to the Fiora, I think that's a matchup that Strawberry Ira can utilize to put themselves in a favorable kind of state of the lanes here.
And that's just real unfortunate. I felt like they had a great lead going, but all of a sudden, the tables have turned and the gold lead starts to shrink. Once again, we'll have to see. We need the split lane pressure. This is why you have Fiora. She's the one who is actually like trying to team fight in the Baron pit, trying to get that Baron down. But Vincent, all of a sudden, a 1-6-2 score line, but is so damn strong. Oof. But an excellent parry ain't gonna save you no more. Rooted up Giggity, gonna go ahead and grab another kill. Desire can be a huge threat. And if you're not respecting these like split lane pressures, it feels like there's a lot of people on both teams dying, being able to be over pushed out there, just barely is able to dodge a great usage of the Barn ult, shuts down that engage for now. They're gonna go ahead and just try to get away. Thank goodness Wukong was able to escape with that clone.
Now that the Baron buff is gone on Strawberry Ira, To The Moon is trying to swing back. Look at these platings go down, but there's 4 members.
Oh, goodbye, Wango. Just wave goodbye.
That is still 4 platings taken, and the wave state is kind of nice, I guess, around the map, but not too much pressure going to be able to be utilized by the rest of To The Moon. There's no wave in bot, and they weren't able to get much done mid, so it's another, you know, kind of needless death from Wango, who is now negative in the scoreline, 6-7.
Yes, I love that. Yes!
And, you know, is basically on parity with the Aatrox in terms of items now. 3.5 to the Fiora, and Aatrox also just got about another half item completed on top of those other 3. So the lead in top lane in particular has really diminished. I think mid lane is kind of the biggest gap in favor of To The Moon Galatea right now. And with a minute on this Drake, we'll see how relevant that 1,000 gold lead is for To The Moon.
Oh, and when Mel gets Leandries, especially with Death Cap ready to go, she just might be a huge power bomb of damage that they have to be careful of. That's the problem of having these kind of beefy frontliners, especially keep in mind, as you mentioned earlier, if Mel's not doing this damage, I'm hella worried about this Wukong and Aatrox ripping through you, because that's only MR you got there on Mint.
Yeah, Mint may melt. Vincent's looking for a flank, but I feel like Strawberry Ira's biggest strength is the team fight. They want to be able to group and fight together, and Wango is on the side lane up there in top, has a teleport, but there is the option for To The Moon to just give this dragon, corral the 5 members of Strawberry in here, and just try to deny the backs. Vincent is going to get the recall off, but that turret is not long for the world up top.
And it's not for long, and Silas does have a TP ready to go, so Mint, that's what we were worried about, right? Look how much damage Spoobert was able to do, and here comes the 1v1. Has the nice little unbreakable will stolen away to perform some beefiness, and that's going to be a headbutt away, but here comes Aatrox's healing. That's a massive Darkened Blade, but will it be able to land up to more? Great stun by Bard, only finds one, but here comes the sweet Wukong, is able to get staying alive. A huge pickup. Ooh. Oh my goodness, Cosmic Binding just shy of missing it, but that's so much damage. And Dwayne Chain did win out, so this is a lot of base damage. This, oh my goodness, Nexus Tower is gonna go ahead and get melted away, and as well as the Ravenous Hydra for that wave clear. A 3 for 3. No, it's a 4 for 3, but I think one side definitely got the bigger end of that deal. A nice little 2 towers were able to be taken away.
2 towers and an inhibitor gonna give some map pressure, and look how fast those platings disappear. That is, oh yeah, that's almost a 3rd tower taken out. The Nexus turrets, you know, they do come back, and the inhibitor, if To The Moon isn't able to utilize that pressure, will just funnel some gold into Strawberry's pockets. But ooh, nice stun.
Oh my goodness, but unfortunately no Cyclone, but this is gonna be 2 free kills picked up, double kill for this Wukong. Oh no, Loveless, you better run away. There's a nice angry man going after you, but thank goodness the Cosmic Binding was going here. Those are 2 unnecessary deaths when Baron is up. That's actually another big mistake.
Yeah, I mean, I think the play from Wengo was like, I liked the idea of, you know, play for the enemy base, give the dragon, and then utilize that pressure to set up a spot for Baron, but instead he stays on the map, dies again, and now that should be a free Baron over to the side of Strawberry Ira, but there is a Zyra alive who can make this very difficult to take.
No flash, so can't go for the flash smite, but so much damage. Go ahead and buy that space. Oh no. I don't think they can really contest this. Maybe throw some plants in there if you can, but I think go ahead and Giggity. Staying away, not risking that one. They already threw 2 members away just like that one. And all of a sudden, a huge win, and especially the destruction of the base, turns you into a potential nightmare situation, especially when you consider that Soul is up for grabs. But hold on, they're going to go ahead. They may not get Baron, but they're going to go ahead and get off the equation. But oh my goodness, Giggity's caught! And that's going to be a free kill going away. Zyra trying to stall it out there. The Strangling Thorns as well thrown out there. But oh my goodness. This is getting close. 2 minutes and 30 seconds. That is the timer that TTMG have to be careful of.
If they give Soul over, I think the game will really go Strawberry Ira's way. They are getting a push down in the mid lane, but Wengo is looking towards that top lane, even with the Baron buff. This could spell trouble for Spoober, but Spoober's actually up a level now, by the way. That again is showing, you know, these needless deaths are coming back to bite To The Moon. It's not a free game. You can't just give that away, and they are trying to crack open the base here.
And I'm not liking the usage of the headbutt that CU is throwing out there all willy-nilly. They're going to go ahead and try to stall their headbutt. Pulverize finds 2 members, but the reflection from Mel shuts that one down. Huge flank by Sion. Unstoppable Onslaught is able to collide, but here comes DJ Lopez. The Wukong is fed. The Wukong is 10-0, and Mint is just trying to run away. Half health gone. Base inhibitor is as well. A huge Temper Fate. It's gonna catch Giggity again. It's like a remix, a repeat. Another one down. Sion is struggling to stay alive. Does get a flash on Vincent. Here comes the TP. Can it be stopped? No. Mel unable to do so. Yuri just trying to run away. Dragon is up soon. You just want to survive. And Spoobert is going to go ahead and do so. Another great Cosmic Binding by Loveless. It got a little scary. The end did not happen, but that's so much mileage being able to be gained out of nowhere.
Massive mileage on the Baron power play for Strawberry Ira. They are now 2,000 gold in the lead, and they are going to have a nice position to set up for this Drake in 40 seconds. Respawns will be coming through for To The Moon, and this could be the fight that decides the game, but it feels like Strawberry Ira really do have the upper hand. It was a quiet early game from Loveless on the Bard, from the bot lane from Strawberry in general, but now that we are in the mid to late game, those builds have come online, and they are dealing so much damage.
And what a snipe with the Cosmic Binding. They have been on point for Loveless. unable to miss. And being able to continue on this pressure, these tempered fates have done so much mileage.
CJ Lopez.
From CJ Lopez for the flank, but it only found one tick of the Cyclones. You're going to go ahead and get CC'd up and slam down. A trade's going to happen. Here comes the Guardian Angel. But will it be good enough? Oh my goodness, I think Tempered Fate was able to find one member. That's Giggity once again and falls victim to Yuri. Able to get slaughtered down. CU is trying to say see you later, but I think you'll be seeing the respawn platform. Another kill gets over. Here comes Mint just trying to clear the wave. And keep in mind, we're looking at the top side of that fight. Vincem is going to go ahead and try to get this 1v1 down. I don't think Dwayne Go Unchained will be able to survive that one. A thumbs up, a great little stoppage, but Kingslayer is able to find her. My goodness, you can get soul here or you can just finish the game because at this point, I think this is curtains.
It looks like it's going to be a game over in Strawberry Ira's favor unless Fortune can pull off a miracle here, but there's 5 members alive. I don't think it's happening that way.
Oh, yep. Fortune favors the bold, but you're going to go ahead and get shut down. I cannot believe this happened, Freedom Potatoes. I just can't.
It's a brutal loss for To The Moon Galatea in game number 1, and I mean, you know, going back to those predictions, I thought they were going to break the curse, and I thought that was going to give them the momentum to take the series, but now with that throw coming through, with that little bit of a caster curse, maybe, I don't know, that could be the series starting to swing for Strawberry Ira off that first game. And I really feel like it comes back down to tempo. The tempo was so heavily in To The Moon's favor in that early game, but a few mistakes to give over those shutdowns, give over those crucial objectives, and let these enemy champions scale up into their late game powerhouse forms, and it all slips away for To The Moon.
Yeah, they tried doing like a 1-3-1 setup at some points of the map, but they weren't really able to lead that into any major leads. But we'll have to see how it moves. That's a really tilting loss. I'm not gonna, like, straight up, like, that's just one of the hard losses you're gonna have to take. You had such a great start, and it just leads to not. It leads to disaster in the end game. Oh my goodness, that Wukong just ripped Terra into shreds, and then the Bard was able to pop off with so many amazing Cosmic Bindings and Tempered Fate. You talked about tempo, but it was the Tempered Fate that honestly, Giggity died 3 times to that ult. 3 in a row.
Yeah, those Tempered Fates back to back were really the thing that swung the game in terms of, individual abilities, individual fights for Strawberry Ira. Really feel like, Loveless and CJ Lopez doing their jobs particularly well. A deathless game on the Wukong when the solo lanes were going so disastrously is quite impressive, I've got to say. I mean, you hear about, how all the junglers love to complain about having losing lanes, getting invaded, and being able to keep a cool head and bring it back. I am definitely impressed with CJ Lopez in that game number 1. He was also down quite a bit of CS on his counterpart. I mean, the Zyra is just like, a farming powerhouse, not entirely surprising, but being able to find those picks on the Fiora, overextending on the side lanes, convert those into objectives. It's just a really great job by Strawberry Ira, and shows that, the mechanical skill to get those early solo kills isn't all you need to win games in League.
Yeah, that team chemistry really needs to come together, and especially from how hot both of these teams are playing and how tight these seedings are, we're going to need to see some improvements on both sides. One needs to improve at the start, and the other needs to finish their plate and finish their food. We're going to go ahead and hop into a quick break. Don't miss game number 2. All right. Right back again in this best of 5 series. We just witnessed the most interesting matchup of a back-to-back, back and forth, throw after throw, a strong start, but couldn't finish. I am Wolfie Scratch, and I'm joined by Freedom Potatoes. Freedom Potatoes. What a game one. That's all I'll say.
Game one was certainly very interesting. I mean, it started off so strong for To The Moon Galatea with their solo laners picking up 2 solo kills in just the first couple minutes, and continuing to use that lead into the mid game. But once we got to the mid lane, things got a little shaky. There were some overextensions, some deaths, giving over kills to the to the Wukong in particular, and then that allowed CJ Lopez to kind of stabilize the game and really bring things back for the side of Strawberry Ira. So I think, To the Moon has the pieces to put themselves together a lead in the early game, but they need to tighten up their, positioning in the mid to late game if they want to get a win back here in the second one.
Yeah, and honestly, if you're watching the performance and if you think you can play better than that one, if you think you can bring more to the team, you can go ahead and join the Summer 2026 Scouting Grounds from April 14th to the 23rd. Want to prove your mettle, want to prove your worth, want to make sure that ego is not only proven, but on full display on discord.gg/Titan Esports. Plenty of teams looking, plenty of talent all around. Why not do it on a stage like so? Whew. And we're gonna hop right into this draft. What do we want to see in these differences?
So let's see. To the Moon, sticking with the blue side here. And so as far as differences go, I thought that To the Moon mostly picked themselves a very interesting composition last game. They had strong split push threat. They had a power farming jungler that could deal a lot of damage. But the one piece of their draft that I'm not sure I loved was the Senna. I think if you're going to pick a split push heavy composition, you want to pick champions that are a little more kind of self-sufficient, something like maybe like a Sivir or a Caitlyn that can kind of lane bully, really put down the wave clear while you're doing that split push thing. I feel like the Senna kind of wants to team fight a little more. And so that's the one thing that I thought maybe didn't entirely fit the identity there. But anyway, I mean, it's fearless draft. All those champions are gone. We're going to be seeing new picks come through. So they might not even be playing towards the split push identity this game. They might be playing more for the team fights. It's really anyone's game, as we're seeing. I think a lot of the same bands. Shen might be a new one. I think Galatea was banned last game, I want to say. So yeah, we've got a lot of bans towards the solo laners also. I feel like teams more often kind of go towards those jungle bans, and Xin Zhao going to be the first pick here. Another, I always call them the staple junglers. Everyone's got to play them. Pretty much everyone can play them, and they pretty much always get some kind of value, and it's going to be responded to with the Dr. Munda.
This is my nightmare pick. Dealing with Mundo especially requires a coordinated effort. So especially in this team setting, we'll have to see how is able to move on. And Ashe as well selected plenty of damage. It could be an Ashe Seraphine as well. That's a potential threat. And everyone knows the nightmare of dealing with that. And if you haven't, keep it that way. It's miserable. It's painful. And we're starting to see a little bit more on this damage side with the Sivir already selected.
Sivir is one of those champions I called out by name. I mean, again, it might be a different identity, but I think she can work great with a team fight composition. Use the on the hunt to go for those enemies when you engage with something like the Ornn or the Xin Zhao, but can also be a kind of safe piece of a split push composition. It does seem like To the Moon very much switching things up. They've got that tank top laner locked in.
There we go.
And Ashe Seraphine is going to be the bot lane for Strawberry Ira. Very annoying bot lane to deal with. Sivir is a decent answer, but there's just so many spells that you have to block as the ADC for To the Moon.
And you talked about the Galio ban. It's going to come in phase 2 this time, seeing that the mid laner was not selected. And we're going to see a Mordekaiser struck away, a very strong bruiser type with that ability power. We'll have to see what the remaining picks are. And the Rail does get banned. She actually did just get buffed this patch.
Could be a reaction to that buff. She got some extra move speed and some extra damage on her ultimate, or move speed on her E and damage on her ultimate. I think the move speed is the big thing. Being able to, engage and help your teammates engage from kind of farther away with that is a big deal. So yeah, a lot of the engage tools banned away from Strawberry Ira. They got mad at me for that before. And then top lane bans for TTMG, but that could, no, it can't be anymore. Now that we've seen the K'Sante pick, we know that it is the Mundo jungle. K'Sante top lane can kind of just wail away at this Ornn. I think the K'Sante does really great into other tanks. Can go tank for tank, but can also become quite the damage threat.
Lulu as well selected, and Victor will be locked in as well. Was banned away in the last game. This time will be selected. Plenty of mixed damage threats. This is a good thing. I really like to see it now. And Zoe as the final pick, knowing the matchup is coming up. A spicy little mid laner with plenty of skill shots and plenty of range to deal with. We'll have to see how this works out.
That Zoe pick is another spicy one. If you know, I mean, we saw a lot of solo kills for To the Moon last game, but Zoe is one of the kind of queens of generating solo kills in the mid lane, especially when you get a lucky bubble drop early on. But just so much damage can really take over the early game. But there are some options on the side of To the Moon to kind of respond to her. I think the Ornn can kind of eat the Sleepy Trouble bubble and then use the Bellows Breath to CC immune that. You also have the you know, the cleanse and the spell shield on Fortune Sivir, so few options that they have that like can kind of help deal with that long range poke, but there's so many abilities to watch out for coming through from Strawberry Ira.
Strawberry Ira's got plenty of those threats, and we're seeing Yuri actually bringing out the ghost as well. Yeah, I don't think there's too much point in bringing the cleanse. Like, all you can really do is a polymorph, and that's really it. So opting to go for more mobility, opting to go for more kiting power. We'll have to see how it moves on forward, and the Wing on Chain does get the first hit. No, this ain't no FGC. You ain't getting no extra bar, extra gold, or nothing. We'll have to see how this laning phase goes right here, and they're already exchanging out this damage. I'm expecting this early trade, and then both supports are gonna try to burn their heal. We'll have to see who's gonna be the one swinging first, as both junglers are starting topside.
Both junglers might be looking to make some impact down in the bottom lane, but the Xin Zhao, if he shows up, is going to be a lot more impactful than that Mundo in the early game, who is more so looking to just farm, hit those item spikes, and then become an unkillable monster later in the game. But I do think, talking about kind of the team compositions and the damage profiles, I think To the Moon has a lot of good tools to deal with the Mundo. Victor should be getting a lot of that percent health damage, assuming he goes the Leandries. I think Sivir, once late game rolls around, has the move speed and the damage, and big CC. Unfortunately.
Oh, you have to just respect that one at this point. And here comes a nice big exchange happening in the mid lane. You talked about how Zoe was the queen of getting those first bloods, but it looks like both of them will be scrapping out there. Mint and Vincent definitely have some beef with each other, especially at how that previous game went. One definitely had the lead over the other, but one was actually able to win the game at the end. A little bit of exchange happening, but you need to be careful. Victor being able to utilize that siphon power is going to get a free shield, and Zoe's taking a lot of damage.
And the bone plating on Victor also getting so much value into those burst abilities from Zoe. Vincent also running the ghost. I see the value on it, but I mean, if you're really trying to play for those early solo kills and blow open the game that way, usually I'd see Zoe's take ignite. And now that he's on the back foot, I think Vincent could be struggling here. There's also a TP available for Mint, so he might be able to get a good reset off here, come back to lane, and just stabilize the early part of the game, which is where Zoe kind of is the strongest.
Oh, canceled the recall? I think realized. I feel like that was a fine back to go for, even though you're seen. Unless you'll be able to compete with that one. And now
Mundo.
Dr. Mundo is right here. Here it comes. I think this is going to be a forced out flash. It comes a little late, though. That's disastrous. Queen of First Bloods, you're correct after all. Vincent will be able to get it this time in the matchup.
It was looking like Mint had found a way to get the upper hand in that matchup, but kind of holds the flash too long on that Mundo gank. Mundo not known for his early gank strength, but if you are positioned too far up in the lane, he still does deal decent damage in the early game. And I think that Mint might have been able to finish the recall there. I'm not sure if the bubble would have canceled it in time. You get that kind of immunity for the last quarter second or so of the recall, but yeah, then he stays and is leaning down towards the bot side, which is right where CJ Lopez comes from, and you just got a flash early there.
Right here, yeah. You have to just go for it, because as well as the fact that that Zoe will be able to pick up your flash, and the fact that Vincent didn't have to burn it at the end of the day, just relied on a nice, perfectly sniped out Sleepy Trouble Bubble, says a lot about that skill. A little bit of a gamble, but it paid off at the end of the day. And even the bone plating wasn't enough to make that laning phase go well. You got to be careful of that jungle pressure, even if it is Mundo. Just flash.
Yeah, especially on it was the initial paddle star that I really think Mint should have flashed on. I mean, as soon as you see that jungler and see that deadly skill shot coming towards your face, just get out of there. It's a very common thing I see, is just because the worst feeling in the world is losing the summoner spell and your life. If you hold it and die, at least you can say you'd get more value later, so you can justify that. But if you lose both, I don't know. Then there's not really anything you can say to recover from that. Both top laners, low on mana, low on health, probably just going to be looking to reset. But for now, no one started that recall up there.
I'm going to go ahead and fight it out. And as you said earlier, not only was that the worst case scenario, not only did you like flash and then die, the mid lane didn't even trade flash with you.
Yep.
Literally just was able to get a free kill off of it, sniped you out with that bubble, and now is able to kind of rule out on this lane. Level 6 is finally achieved for the Zoe. That's going to be plenty of poking damage, and we're seeing both junglers fighting out in the river. It's supportal combat. We're going to have to see it right there as they're scrapping it down, since that has to get away. And I think that was a flash burn way, way earlier down here, and the top laners are finally at it once again.
Top laners fighting each other. Ooh, but the Tofo strikes are going to go wide, and I mean, yeah, they're kind of nonstop brawling here. I feel like we have gotten to the point where Spoobert wins these trades pretty hard, actually. Has those 2 null magic mantles, and Mountain Drake going over to the side of Strawberry Ira. Gonna be a nice pickup for those tanks.
And a very stable start. Like, this is not the usual where both solo laners are dying at the first 2 minutes of that game. And the Lingo Unchained's got to be a little bit careful. Ooh. That's a lot of trouble thrown out here, but both tanks might be overextended. We need to be careful. Bellows, bro, that's going to be a lot of damage if we get that auto off.
Oh.
And oh no, there's no way. Spoobert will be going down in an in-lane gank. That's what happens if you push your luck too far, and while paying the price dearly, that's troublesome.
That's a troublesome death to give over. I mean, Ornn is also a champion that has good % health damage in his kit and can deal a lot of damage in general. As we saw there, it looked like Spoobert, had the upper hand, but Wango has enough mana, has the ultimate. Oh, but he's kind of overstayed trying to get his way to himself.
What'd you say? Most deaths in?
Yeah, most deaths in the league is what I was informed of. So, yeah, it's Now that's another death and a pretty bad wave state. If Spoobert decides to hold this on his side of the lane, Wango is going to be missing out on a lot of farm. So trying to get that wave in, and it was a cannon wave no less. Those take way too long to get in when you don't have mana like that. Is going to come back to bite Wango.
It's like a superpower, right? Where you get to list, I'm going to be like one of the best top players out there, and I'm going to scrap 24/7. And someone gets to list like a downside, and they're just like, yeah, but you're going to die at every important thing. And you're gonna kick yourself for it. Last 2 times it was 2 Barons in a row, and then this time you're gonna miss a cannon wave. That's a Protopel ready to go, and my goodness, that Paddlestar just eliminated that minion wave. And the bubble does land, but I think the minion, oh no! I thought the minion would just be enough to stop it, but instead it's gonna be plenty of damage, and here comes Seraphine. Ooh. Plenty of damage, great spell shield, but they're gonna focus all the fire on CU. No level 6 available just yet. Vincent eliminates Mint, melts that mid laner away, and that's going to be a big lead for the Zoe, who can quickly transform into a problem.
Zoe is going to be a problem here, and there's not a lot of snappy CC on the side of To The Moon's composition, so it's going to be hard to punish Vincent when he is fishing for those bubbles and for those paddle stars. Maybe you can use the Ornn ultimate. I think that's kind of the best tool they have in their book to start a fight if Vincent oversteps. But speaking of Ornn, and oh, little interesting interaction with the Unstoppable there.
Speaking of Ornn, and as well as the aggression, both those top laners striking it out there, but this time Spoober's just like, I'm going to go ahead and just go extremely ham because my jungler is going to go ahead and take Void Grubs. Dwango, yeah, this is not worth it. Do not be dying for the control ward. Eats a lot of damage and a briefcase moving on. No.
No, not the short-term amnesia.
Oh, no. Potato? Is there much really to say?
I mean, not really. You can see the pressure from that freeze off of that earlier play getting to Wango, because they were even in CS up in the top lane. Now it's 25 CS up for Spoober because he was able to just hold that on his side of the lane. And with no vision of CJ Lopez on that Mundo, Wango has to play way safer there, and leads to this massive lead now for the Cassante in the 1v1. So you can see off that one small mistake, choosing to push out the lane instead of recalling and then getting punished by the Mundo, the Ornn now finds himself in a deep hole in the top lane.
It's like a swap of roles from the previous game. Instead, it's going to be hurt being able to do it all. And did you see that little macro interaction by Vincent waiting for the bone plating to go away before landing that last Paddle Star? That did so much damage. And as per usual, Bot lane gonna go ahead and stabilize out. That was a lot of damage, but it was just instead gonna be a little bit of trade. They're gonna reset and go on back. Sivir does have the Cole. I was actually surprised Yuri didn't pick it up. I feel like both these players are going to be farming up here. Neither one will be able to really kill each other, but hold on. Sleepy Trouble Bubble does land. Will it be buying enough time? Vinsum is just trying to run away and has Dr. Mundo to go ahead and escort the Zoe out. A failed gank. That's got to be tilting, especially how well Vinsum has been playing.
Vinsum also has himself about a 25 CS lead in Mint. Might be in danger again now.
You know, we were talking about like Dr. Mundo ganks aren't going to be that good. Well, if they're fine if the blader walks back up after forgetting about you.
Yep. That is, yeah. I mean, he still has slows. He still does good damage. It's not a Zac. It's not a Nunu. But if you're positioned in the wrong spot, if you haven't been doing your homework and tracking the enemy jungler, you can still die very easily to that champ. Ooh, Spoobert.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Here's plenty of damage. Oh, my goodness. The Wingo Unchained. You're going to go ahead and die for that one. The flash forward. Will it be the trade out? No, sirree. That's going to be a lot of damage, and cleanse instantly burned away. You have to make sure you don't get CC'd up. A top diff being...
Yeah, so far has been all Strawberry Ira. They have that 5-1 kill lead, and here comes another gank.
Oh, what a flash forward as well, being able to secure that CC, but the damage is not falling up there. Hold on. Here comes Ow, that's plenty of damage and sets up the ult, but the Heart Stopper, that's plenty of damage. Here comes the TP. They just got to get away. The re-engage is able to come in just in time. 4 members, briefcase thrown. Mundo go where he pleases. Maximum dosage, maximum value, and is able to escape with their life. Zoe fearlessly steps forward, has everything ready to go. It's a 4v4 in the bot lane. And in all honesty, just disengage. Just go ahead and walk away because Vinsum's going to have the time of Zoe's life. The Trouble Bubble, it does not work like that. You cannot spell shield afterwards.
Yeah, spell shield timing, little off from Fortune, but the team walks up to body block the Paddle Star from coming through, and Vincent not willing to risk his life, risk that 200 gold shutdown on his head to go for the Sivir. So it's just going to be a bunch of summoner spells blown once again, and I do think that trade actually favors To The Moon a little bit in the bottom lane. There are no summoners on Strawberry's bottom lane, while CU still has the heal and will have the flash momentarily. Could be an angle for To The Moon to try to get something back in this game.
I had the 1,000-yard stare, seeing Zoe holding on TP before they patched that one out where you should get the random drops. But because of that TP bot from Mint, it actually gives Vinsum a nice little angle to get a free back or a free pressure roam. We'll have to see what each one it is. As Spoobert's going to go ahead and keep trading in this top side. I like the lead Cassante has, but I really don't want to see these top laners overextend and get themselves killed like the previous game.
Ooh, 2-level lead for Spoobert, and he might be looking for a kill here. Nope, not going to find the angle for the all-out.
Oh, goodness. That's so much damage, though. Going on Chain is doing a really good job dodging all these abilities. Here's Dr. Mundo. CJ Lopez doing the usual treks through the jungle. Gonna go ahead and still get that lead set up. Another Trouble Bubble. Just able to land Paddle Star. That's gotta sting. No Teemo needed. Oh my goodness, Zoe is a problem.
Zoe, once she gets those few kills, is a big problem. And Spoobert, just taking a 1v1 trade under the enemy tower now.
Opting to go, trying to get the all-out near that right side of the wall. The Wingo Unchained is just not letting that happen. That's just the one condition where you just cannot put your back against that wall because you will go right through it and you will die. There's no tower to protect. Yeah, here comes a little bit of the bot lane exchange. In both of these games so far, it's been really stable out here besides that, funny little 4v4. But the solo laners instead for Ira is a huge problem. And oh no, just try to get away. Here comes the all-out. No wall needed. Great flash away. Spoobert's gone. What an outplay!
Wango finds the 1v1 in revenge for Spoobert going a little too deep. Kind of a reversal of what we saw last game. And I mean, I feel like this is a little bit of, philosophy about kind of like the ranked system. I'll soapbox a bit in here is like, even when you're behind, right? If you're in a matchup with someone and they're in your rank, that a lot of times means, maybe they have some other weakness. Maybe they're really good at getting those solo kills, but they're, they position poorly in the mid to late game. There's some reason they're in the same elo as you, and so there's always a way to find an angle back in here. Oh, hold on.
But the minion wave just in time was able to block that pedal star, but it matters not. CC chained up. Vincent's on a killing spree, and this mid tower is going to be pressured quite a lot. That's a crucial kill, but at least you'll be up in time for Dragon.
That is a big kill to get. I mean, the Victor does have the Rod of Ages complete, has for a bit, but still is in some serious trouble in this 1v1. Gonna really struggle to match Vincent on that Zoe, as the players are starting to coalesce around the bottom lane here with that Dragon up in 20 seconds. Mint might be able to TP in, might be able to walk there, but I don't think To The Moon should want this fight. They kind of just want to continue scaling, because if Mint can hold on and get to another item or two, I think you will be able to match Vincent. Kind of just nuke those waves will be a big deal in taking care of those tanks that Strawberry has, but until he gets there, it is going to be a tough time.
Ugh, and look at these top laners being able to just duke it out there. I mean, Cassante slowly being able to get that shred down, but I just don't like this overextension to try to get this one, but instead, speaking of overextension, we'll be able to try to get that one out there. Zoe doing plenty of damage. Vinsum is able to get away, has flash available. We're gonna see this top lane scrap continue on. Look at that damage that was done on CU. Just trying to go ahead and survive. Bellow's Breath doing plenty of damage. Spoober, hey, we gotta be careful of this tower dive. You remember what happened last time? Uh-oh.
He is playing on the edge in this matchup, and we got to roam up from Fortune to try to find the Cassante.
Called Forge God. Here it comes. Unstoppable, however, perfectly played. You're not the only character who could do so, but Wango Unchained is able to get away. Flash forward is able to secure the kill. Here comes the redemption as well. Re-engaged by Spoober. Hold on a minute. Gets the knock as well. Double kill. Going into play, the entire team rotates up because that Dragon was taken. And here comes the dive. Tower is not for long. Giggity just tried to go ahead and get away. Crescent Guard to try to guard their own life, try to guard their own presentation, but Yuri on track. Yuri trying to get it down with the Rangers. Focus gets the stun with from the teammate, the alley-oop, and the Giggity goes down. 4 members in the top lane completely steamrolling TMG.
Strawberry Ira are steamrolling and completely taking over this second game here. 5,000 gold in the lead. They're going to try to get this Rift Herald here. Should be free, and they are on Soul Point. It is looking tough for To The Moon to find a way back in this one, but we've seen stranger things happen. Yes. So we know it's possible. It's just that, To The Moon doesn't have the Drakes in their pocket, and they've really struggled to find some of these engages. All their kills are on the Ornn too, who is not really where you need the gold if you're going to win this game.
Ugh, it's rough. I mean, it's a great outplay that Wango Unchained has potentially been able to get. But the problem is, just look at the kill count, and as you mentioned earlier, the gold and who it's going to and the crucial members, it's all on Ornn. The 2 kills has been Ornn. And yeah, I mean, the character can do some great stuff, but when every single other member of the team on the enemy side has all that damage, I don't think that many resistance is able to save you.
No, there's not enough resist to save you from, especially the persistent chase down that is on the side of Strawberry Ira. Cassante, Mundo, Ashe, and Seraphine can all be pumping out those constant slows, giving, with that move speed from the Seraphine as well. Even if you are very tanky, you will eventually go down as the Ornn. So To The Moon really needs to get some gold onto these carries, find some kill onto someone. I think probably the easiest person to get would be Vincent in theory, but I think Vincent has also managed to hold onto his flash the entire game, if I'm not mistaken. I feel like every time I thought he was going to have to use it, he was just so patient with that summoner spell. And now they are going to try to find a 4-man onto Spoober.
And Spoober has all out, so if you find an angle, great usage, and the Unstoppable try to angle it out there, but what a crucial polymorph, but still is able to get it. I think that's still a member that can provide some lethality, but to go ahead and turn on this fight. Dr. Mundo, here it comes with the aggression, but it's only 2 members. Hold on, they're re-engaging into nothing, just trying to get away. Here comes the all-out Cassante! Lots of damage, but it's not gonna be enough. They're gonna go ahead and just keep stalling. How is Spoobert alive? finally gets shut down, finally is able to pay for their sins and pay with their life. The Dace is being destroyed on the other side, but Strawberry Era needs to be careful. They can actually get both these members killed if they're not careful. But it looks like TMG to the moon will be happy with that one game they got, but that's another tower down as a response.
It's a nice kill to get, but it takes so long to come through with how tanky that Cassante is and how, frankly, far behind To The Moon is. Once this Victor has the Leandries, I think he's going to be dealing much more damage, much more of a threat against those big tanky members. And I actually thought that To The Moon might have been able to get the Ashe and the Mundo if they had continued that play, but it is always risky to go for something like that when your base is under assault. But Fortune might have been able to clear out those waves. Still, To The Moon is going to get those resets off, and there is going to be a dragon spawning in 30 seconds. Strawberry Ira has vision dominance. They have Vincent looking to snipe anyone that walks up to try to get vision, and there's the Drowsy.
Yeah, but great usage of the Bellows Breath. That was the one thing you explained earlier about the counterplay being able to on the tank. But also, did you see Cassante's items? There's a Zeke's.
Yeah, there is a Zeke's. That is a thing I've seen being done recently on some champions, some I think junglers in particular, because it gives ultimate haste now, if I'm not mistaken, and is with the all out is pretty nice in the 1v1. Oh, another late spell shield for Sivir.
Yeah, it's just like, I could just do the sleep afterwards, but nope. Not the case. Spoobert, oh my goodness, see you. Might be seeing you later. Call the Forge God does not find any major members. So they're going to go ahead and just peel away, and the poke damage that has available to go. Crystallized Arrow goes wide, but only finds one member from that Encore. So not going to be able to find him. A Fortune does favor the Bold, is still alive, but here comes the extended fight. 3 knocked up. And as well as a response to the 3 on the other side. But here it comes, the all-out. Drags one member. 3 kills go in the favor. As Vinsum gets a triple kill, gets a quadra kill. Can't find the penta angle. But that is so damn much. Baron is up, but they can go ahead and get a free inhib and potentially...
They've got the Herald, but the death timers are short. There's 15 seconds on Fortune, but they might want to look to just close this out. I mean, they have the Soul, they have the Baron. Ooh, Herald going to...
One Nexus Tower at least.
Just charge into the inhibitor, but can they keep this going?
Oh, this is rough. I think they were able to load it out there. My goodness, 22 minutes! And they're able to just shut it down like that! A comeback, a ridiculous one in game number 1, a stop down in game number 2. My goodness, Strawberry Ira stands tall.
Strawberry Ira with a statement game in game number 2. You thought that game number 1 might have been a fluke, just unlucky on the side of To The Moon, but this time around, Strawberry Ira is decisively in the lead. Everyone on their team putting up big performances across the board. Vincent in particular, I gotta say, MVP of this game number 2, getting some serious vengeance for that game number 1, which I will also say, in the statistical ratings, Vincent is rated the highest of all the mid laners in the league, so, for him, maybe that game 1 really was a fluke. If this is what he's able to do with something like the Zoe, I mean, that was crazy. But and most damage to turrets, not what you would expect from the Zoe. Usually, you probably expect that from the Mundo or the Cassante, something like that. But I mean, he was just untouchable, really, in so many of these fights. I don't even know if he even flashed the entire game.
No flash needed.
I mean, I'd have to go back and check, but he might have been able to save Flash the entire game, which is just a crazy statistic if that is true. And I don't know what else. I mean, he's 3,000 gold up on everyone on his own team, and even more over his opponents.
And also, CJ Lopez is now still deathless the entire series, right? Did not previously die in game number 1.
Also, highly impressive statistic for the Strawberry Ira jungler.
What is
now,
happening?
for the side of To The Moon, I mean, we've seen they can put up good performances themselves, but they need to get, that could just be the mental damage coming through from having game number one go so awry when it was going so well, and getting off to a rough start in game number two. I still believe in To The Moon. I think they can totally pull this off if they can get their heads back on straight for this third game. But that is a tough task when you have an ending like that in game number one, and then such a crushing defeat with even the dancing Shelly in game number two. I'm curious to see how they can turn things around, if they can turn things around.
Yeah, letting a neutral objective emote on your dying base is a crazy thing to have, especially after the disastrous game number one. But we'll have to see if they can make this comeback happen. Game number three, it's do or die. We'll have to see it, and we'll be right back for a small break. A flip-flop game. The first one was an amazing and immaculate comeback out of nowhere. The second one was a complete stomp. It seems like Strawberry Era is just an unstoppable force. I am Club Smash Zone, Wolfie Scratch, and I'm joined by Freedom Potatoes. Freedom Potatoes. That was a game.
That was a brutal game for the side of To the Moon Galatea, but an excellent game out of Strawberry Ira, especially for me, Vincent, and CJ Lopez. I mean, crazy plays coming out of the Zoe in the mid lane. CJ Lopez, another deathless game. And I mean, if you're the side of To the Moon Galatea, my advice to you is like, you need something to break what I feel like is likely tilt. You know, get out of your chair, do some stretching, do some jumping jacks, walk around, do push-ups, whatever it is, something to get your blood pumping, get your mind off the game. That will help recenter you. I mean, I think they've already, you know, they're already kind of getting into the game as we're discussing this. So the time for that may have passed, but you need to refocus and come back into this game fresh. You can't carry that baggage with you after a loss like that.
And especially one thing we talked about as well is like preservation of life. If you see something that's going to hit you for a lot of damage, just burn the flash. Burn something to survive, because the worst case scenario is you burn your flash when it's too late, you lose your life, and then your lane snowballs out of control. And that's exactly what we saw earlier on there. We have to be respectful of this jungler. We have to be respectful of all this pressure, because we see what happens. This is not a team that's going to choke out their lead. This is a team that's going to put a brutal beat down, because that was a one-sided ass whooping, and I'm really scared of what To the Moon will be able to deal with, but I am hopeful in this game number 3.
I think there is still hope. I think they can, you know, try to go back to some of these more aggressive picks. We saw they were able to go toe to toe in those solo lanes, especially.
Game number
it feels
1.
like, you know, but yeah, in game number 1, it feels like Bot has been, you know, a little more chill. Neither team playing things that like really just like explode the early game, going a little more kind of in the scaling utility direction for both sides. But I think, especially for the solo laners, I want to see something that can, you know, pump out some more pressure from To the Moon. They were both on scaling picks there, and that is another thing. I think drafting 2 solo lanes that both want to scale, not really ideal.
Yeah, one of them's got to be a little stronger than the other. Like, I know previously you did 2 laners that want to split push and absorb all that pressure. So we'll have to see. Opposites do attract. You want to be able to get some variety of that kind of pressure, of those kind of champions. Hopeful in this one, because this is Fearless Draft, one of the best things that has been invented ever since sliced bread, to be honest. So I'm happy to see it. We'll have to see what both teams will do. Can see some unexpected picks, because we've seen they're not afraid to pick the mage and as well as a support bot lane.
Yeah, mages in the bot lane have been, you know, utilized. We saw the Mill in that first game, quiet in lane, explosive later on. And the teams have swapped sides. So To the Moon Galatea is going to be on the red side for us this time around. Maybe going to try to give another nice little counter pick up to one of their solo laners, try to get that kind of explosive early game gameplay that we saw from them in game number 1. So far, bans mostly sticking the same. Galio, Oriana, a lot of these, you know, kind of utility picks. It's also interesting to me that Strawberry is banning away these global or semi-global ults. Maybe that's you know, something To the Moon has been able to use to great success before, kind of overload one side of the map with those long range scenes. Maybe Strawberry just can't really play into those kind of champs that, you know, some teams just have that as a weak spot. You see a Nocturne and you just mental boom. But I think that was banned before, and the Nocturne is available now, so could be something we see.
Yeah.
Oh, no, To the Moon is okay. Never mind. Maybe To the Moon is the ones who were banning it before. I might have memory loss, but anyway, a lot of globals taken off. There is still, you know, if you wanted to go that route, there is something like
Corgi.
the Pantheon. It's going to be Corki, though. Pretty safe blind pick. ADC has mobility, has poke, but also has good all-ins. You know, power for early game, but scales nicely too.
Mixed damage, and it's going to be the Brand locked in. Could be anywhere. Yeah, Brand's been like all around the map. Can go jungle at some points, can go mid, can go support, can go bot lane, can go top lane if you're feeling especially spicy, but we'll have to see what it is. It's going to be the Nami picked as well. A dangerous character. Did get touched during this patch, no?
Nerf. Yeah, it got nerfed. The each successive bounce of her W now is getting lower. I think it's lower damage and lower healing. So a little bit less, you know, AoE utility, but with not accounting for the bounces, everything else I think is still the same. I'm just gonna check that.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's both the damage and the healing that were nerfed, and we see Vi and Pike locked in. Those are some champions with some serious motion. They can go in and cause havoc for the side of Strawberry Ira.
I think serious motion. I couldn't have said that even more perfectly, Mateo. These are characters that can really swing a game fast and hard, which is something that Strawberry Ira has been able to do successfully. They've been able to get the momentum rolling and just become an unstoppable force. And speaking of unstoppable force, Malphite gonna go ahead and be struck away. Such a strong character, and as well as that Silas is no longer to be able to play in this series. Being able to get taken away, Malphite's got such a strong clear. It's so fast and quick and healthy. We're actually going to see a Olaf banned away, a very dangerous character to be let onto the Rift. And we're actually seeing Akshan and as well as an assassin ban.
I'm kind of surprised that To The Moon is banning the Malphite, to be honest, because there are 3 AD champions picked up by the other side. Malphite ult can be so disruptive to those champions. You know, if either Vi or the Pike goes in, you can counter engage on them, you can counter engage on the Quirky. The Malphite could have given them some nice options, but it looks like they wanted the Urgot for themselves, and they banned the Malphite away to, you know, disrupt some of that armor stacking. Now there is the Ahri picked up for Ira. That is gonna really line up with their identity of go hard, go in with that Vi and Pike. And I am scared for CU down there in the support role. That Nami is probably gonna be a you know, easy pickings for what Ira has drafted here. She's going to have to be very careful in order to live in team fights.
Yeah, this tidal wave has got to be the best damn wave you've ever seen, and it's going to be the Akali as well. So because of this draft, and as we were, I think, expecting, it's going to be the Brand bot lane. Because we were like, it has to be a solo laner who's getting the last pick. And Mint, of course, getting the brute force, was able to really thrash in the game. Number 1, we'll have to see what the adjustments can be made. Lots of damage on the side of To The Moon, but I'm afraid of them receiving the brunt force because every single member of Strawberry Era has a dash.
Yeah, they have a dash-heavy team, a team that really likes to go in, and that is just scary to look at if you are a dashless ranged champion, of which there are 2 on the side of To The Moon. Ooh, but nice little start to this trade from Mint.
I'm going to get it.
Never mind.
I mean, I like it, right? Because Mint kind of has been able to get the brute force of it, especially from the previous game, is going in with something to prove. Burning a pot early, however, not too big of a fan of that one, but I like the confidence moving forward. Yeah, I like the confidence at least, because most people, after getting completely thrashed like that in game number 2, would opt to play a little bit safer. But because your team heavily invested in you to get the counter pick, to get the last pick, you're coming in with this game with something to prove. I'm just afraid that it might lead to overextensions that might get you killed.
I mean, that is one of the things that I feel like has really been hurting To The Moon is those overextensions. So picking, you know, getting that counter pick, but having it on someone who, you know, could be liable to overextend is risky. And I don't know if the Akali into a Ahri matchup is like super duper Ahri or Akali favored. So it is an interesting last pick from my perspective. Oh, interesting little hook through the minions there.
Yeah, it just went right through it. And that's a good amount of damage. And keep in mind for this top lane matchup as well, it's going to be a little rough for Gragas because usually you want to use that body slam in order to interrupt like another dash. So you can meet them halfway and then your cooldown will be lower because you're going to be the one getting the hit. But because of the grapple ability that Urgot has, it's going to be really dangerous. You have to use it to actually just try to get away. And we're starting to see this hardcore push bot lane and all pots burn with 1 CS. That's tough.
Yeah, that is rough in the pots department. I feel like in these melee versus range matchups, a lot of times it does pay to just go the Doran's shield route, play kind of scared in the early game. But if Mint is able to make something happen with this Doran's ring for the extra AP and that Ignite. Oh, the Ignite was actually already burned, but Vincent still has those pots to regen back up. So the value on that summoner spell, not going to be the highest.
Yeah. It's greedy, right? And I feel like that, yeah, it's good to have this confidence and it's good to be aggressive. But the problem is Mint is chunked out and has to recall now with no TP available. Needs to sprint it down mid lane in order to catch that wave. And Vincent, sitting comfortably with this RE pick is able to just kind of be nice and stable with a TP ready to go. I'm afraid because this Akali needs a lead.
So Colleen needs to get a lead, and if she can get it, can blow the game open. But here comes a Pyke looking for the hook.
Just flash at this point, but instead is opting to go for the first blood instead. We talked about self-preservation earlier on Spoobert. Instead, flashes too late. The ignite ticks down, so it's a 1-for-1 on each side of the map, top and bottom like a sandwich. But my goodness, this action is starting out fast.
This is looking a lot more like game number 1. And here comes the TP, but is this a good TP?
Whoa, I don't think so. Take a drink, my friend, because Wango is going to happily trade with you, knowing that the jungle
mana on the Urgot, though.
Around. But here comes Mint. Look at Mint. Mint is ready to come. Vi is going to try to go together. Dwango is really pushing it and has to flash away. This is going to be a free kill, but at least Vi might be able to get something done. But instead, Wango sprinting up on there, avoids the Vault Breaker. So CJ Lopez, this might be the first death you'll have in the series, but it's a massive one. And it's RTP. Hold on. What is happening? A bunch of decisions are being made left and right, and the support is up here for goodness sake. Vincent has the ignite tipping down. Flag and drag does land. Flash just burned. Gets the flash. Otto's still alive, but the bike flips you over. Giggity will be going down, but my goodness, what a series of events, and I think that's gonna favor TTMG.
TTMG get a nice crash on the wave up top. Spoobert will be able to collect most of that, but that was 2 teleports invested by the side of Strawberry Ira to get here. You can see, I thought this might be a bit of a Hashinshin TP classic, but Wango doesn't have the mana to really punish this TP, so this was actually going very favorably for Spoobert, but the move up from Mint and the jungler as well, it does get them there in time. Dwango, I also thought was going to die when he flashed right over towards CJ Lopez. But the Vault Breaker, not up in time, doesn't land onto the Urgot, and then he gets flipped right back in, and that's just a whole slew of kills going over to the side of To The Moon. They do eventually get the one, but this Pyke hook also, watch the hook from Loveless, because this was real unfortunate.
Oh no. Hooks a friend over. Giggity said thank you. It's like, oh my goodness, you shouldn't have. You really shouldn't have.
Yeah, that is, Giggity saying thank you, and I think shutting down Vincent is big. I mean, he didn't have a shutdown in terms of gold, but just getting a kill onto him, getting yourself off to a good start gold-wise is really nice for To The Moon. Now, they are actually, now that I look at it, pretty much even across the board in terms of gold. Just a couple hundred favoring To The Moon, but here's level 6.
Yeah, and opts to use. Oh, I thought that was going to be an all-in. I felt like if you're confident, you could have just gone for it because you know the Ari has no ultimate to go for, but Mint does not have the R ready to go. But I felt like you should have been a little bit more confident with the Shuriken toss. I felt like that could have just been a nice all-in.
I see Mint also used the ultimate there. Was that interrupted by the charm or something? Because I feel like there could have been more damage down. Hold on, here's another fight.
Oh my goodness. And pops the smoke screen, but has the Jarvan Mint! A hugely played one, and here comes the ult. It's gonna be a 1-for-1, but Jarvan is easily able to get. Oh, what the?
It might have been trying to give the cannon minion there. Really, I think Spoobert just trying to save himself. Is out of mana, using the last bit of it to get away there, but Giggity might find him here.
Yeah, Jarvan's here, ready to play, has the Cataclysm ready to
block
go
a body
as
slam.
well. So Spoobert is locked in and pulled all the way back, doing the best impression of Scorpion. Get over here, the Urgot says, and that's another kill in the bank.
This game, once again, is off to a much better start for To The Moon. Looking a lot more like game number 1. We've got 2 kills on the Urgot. There is going to be an Ocean Drake claimed by Strawberry Ira, though. And that is kind of what helped them get that win in game number 1, was that despite some of these individual advantages, they were still playing the objective game calm, cool, and collected. So if they can keep that up, Strawberry Ira might not be in too bad of a spot here.
For me, it's just a lingering thought. It's like, hey, what? Okay, I thought Loveless was disconnected or something, but here comes. And yeah, if you're doing a long distance dash like that one, that's just going to be the easiest charm of your life. So it's going to be the interrupt. Yeah, an E for an E. but Mint is able to try to get a lead started on more, has a Dark Seal. Both of them actually have it ready to go. But nice job by Yuri to stop that back, try to get any kind of tempo, and CJ Lopez getting cut off. Remember, Vi has no ult ready to go. Vault Breaker used to try to get away, but here it comes. The killing stuff, the killing blow. Flash utilized way too early, and CJ Lopez with the second death. This objective is gone.
Mint just looking so comfortable on these melee assassin type champions more than the control mages. Gets another kill for himself, and that is going to convert into the Void Grubs for To The Moon Galatea. Vincent is able to get a decent trade back, but it's nothing compared to what the Akali just picked up.
Yeah, man, Spoobert is in a lot of trouble. Loveless is here once again with this roam. But the problem is your damage good enough? Great explosive cast, but the ultimate death is assured, and Wango Unchained goes huge once again. Another 2v2. Here comes by. Great buffer by Wango, is just gonna able to get Scuttle away. Giggity, once again, does get hooked up. That's a lot of damage, but oh my goodness, the dash forward Loveless went too deep, and it's gonna be a return kill. Fortune is able to kill Yuri down in the butt. TTMG To The Moon is for sure correct. They are on a roll.
Yeah, that roaming from Pyke does mean that the Corki is having a bit of a harder time in this 2v2 than he might otherwise. And, you know, for the side of Strawberry Ira, I mean, To The Moon, I understood. Last game, you might be tilted from what happened in game number 1. Ira, you have no reason to be tilted or making some of these mistakes, because they are just over sending some of these plays. I mean, I know their composition wants to go in, but that was really deep, going for the enemies under their own turret.
Yeah, and especially with the damage that they have to respond, Akali is able to do so much. Wango Unchained is 4-0 on this Urgot, will become an unstoppable force that can deal so much damage with an execute, by the way.
Yeah, he's gotten a few of those nice ults off, getting good value out of the Fear Beyond Death. And is certainly becoming fearsome in this game here.
Pushed up once again. And Wango Unchained has also done a really good job utilizing the buffer dashes. Like that disdain at the last moment to prevent that being able to get killed was so huge that led to that swing around of momentum. And as well as bot lane, that's like the first time I've seen a major kill like that in a 2v2, but because of the roam, as you mentioned earlier, Corgi's going to be in a heap of trouble, especially if you're going to get hit up with a massive damage bot lane like Brand.
I mean, I guess I could see the logic of, like, you know, the 2v2 is kind of hard to force onto Brand Nami. They have a lot of wave clear. They have a lot of poke. So if you can get Pyke helping someone else out, you know, Corki will still be a stable source of damage later on. But if he is getting killed like that, that is putting a major hole in that plan. And speaking of getting killed, okay, no, Spoobert's fine, I think, but he is eating a lot of damage here.
And losing EXP too, getting zoned away, and finally be able to get a great snipe out there. I think you're gonna be gone real soon, especially if you're gonna try to run back underneath your tower, but no, we'll be able to survive just barely. But Giggity once again, perfectly timed charm, does not get the dash buffered right through it. Just at the right moment, but Wango Unchained is happy right here, as long as you just don't dive under tower. That's what I'm scared about. But whoa. Mitt going aggressive. But I think, I think just missed the shuriken flip, so no mark applied. We'll have to calm it down. I like the aggression, and they trade flash for flash. We'll have to see how it is able to convert later on, because Giggity is here and waiting.
Flash for flash, yeah. Vincent had to use the flash to dodge the shuriken flip, and nice try by Mint to capitalize. Oh, hold on.
Counter engage, and here comes the tidal wave. I mentioned how earlier it has to go huge to receive it, and CJ Lopez goes aggressive. Here comes the flip once again. Mint limping away, but there's no more burst damage. The execute doesn't come into play. There is no death, and there's only a stun and a CC chain for ya. Mint on a killing spree. Death from below, not executing, was huge.
That little bit of healing from the Nami, even with the nerfs, is enough to keep Mint alive. Loveless maybe getting a little antsy, but Giggity's been pulled in.
I think this is a little nuts to kind of go for. Your Vi is way too far behind in order to catch up. Explosive cast to go ahead and stall it out there, but Spoopert, you got to be careful. Ignite, thrown out. little bit for fun. Wango and Chain did have the ult ready to go and found the stuff.
Quick little flash over to the top lane. We interrupt this message to bring you Fear Beyond Death. Yeah. We saw Loveless hit the hook onto Fortune and did blow his flash, but that solo kill top, number 5 of the game for Wango Unchained. It's I mean, it's rough for Spoobert up there.
Also, that was crazy. The Vincent burning charm like that right in front of Mint. I thought Mint was just gonna instantly, after that mark landed, to just get that re-engage immediately. But speaking of that one,
he has
the
no
damage,
charm.
and I love the Mint's playing a little bit back now. It's just like, hey, I don't want to choke this lead that I come up with. I really want to make sure I maintain safety because this Pyke has been roaming 24/7. So the missing pings are definitely being called out, saying like, hey, we need to be a little bit more careful. We need to preserve our lives, as a talking point we had earlier. So I like the response. I'm a little afraid of this Ahri throwing out charms willy-nilly like that, though.
Yeah, one of the most important parts of our, playing Ahri effectively is restraint with the charm. Having the threat of the charm is often more powerful than throwing it out. And, those willy-nilly charms to me can be a sign of inexperience, or they can be a sign of tilt. Oh, here goes a flash.
And they engage on Fortune, but the tidal wave is just enough time. That's going to be a good amount of bounce with that brand ult, but Yuri will be able to survive just barely. So they do get a kill and response, but Mint is here. And that button of the ultimate is ready to go. However, this is a risky dive if you get charmed up, so instead we'll be able to retreat on back, get this push through, explosive cast you to delete that wave. You have to. Great call by Spoobert, knowing this dive is going to happen.
Nicely done by Strawberry Ira to find that kill in the bottom lane, but they're not going to be able to capitalize on it too hard because, the Mint roams down, forces them off, and the Brandle did so much damage to Yuri down there as well. So that is going to be some platings going over to the side of Mint, and Fortune is just going to collect that mid wave. Lots of platings going over to the side of To The Moon now, actually. Oh, Wango.
Yeah, and Wango, that's the exact interaction I was afraid of for Spoobert. It's like, hey, usually you want to do dash for dash, you can interrupt it, and you get yours back first. But the problem is, oh my goodness, what a sidestep, by the way. An excellent mark placing, you're gone. Oh my goodness, Mint is on a rampage.
Mint deletes Vincent in the 2v1, sorry. And part of that is, the boots make a difference in these fights as well.
Spoobert's gonna...
Hold on.
Oh my goodness, Cataclysm, great flash! Gets away with it! And it could potentially, if you had the explosive cast earlier, could have gotten a return kill. But because that it was burned earlier to get rid of the wave so you wouldn't get dove on, we'll have to miss out on the kill. At least you survive. But that's a flash for just an ultimate. Giggity's happy with that trade any day.
Giggity is happy to get that flash down. I thought he could have just used the Herald to knock down the tower and, get a little more guaranteed gold instead of chancing the dive. But that turret still should be going down soon. Down bot side, Mint has already claimed the first one of the game. And that mid and top turret should not be long for this world either.
And we'll have to see what more can be done. A minute and 28 and counting will be able to go down on this Mountain Drake. We'll give a good amount of stats as a stat stick to both teams on the defensive end, and especially with how much burst damage each team has got. It could be a very important Dragon Soul to be claimed as Mint threatening off on the side. Look how much respect they have to give to this Akali.
That Shroud usage is a little early. It won't be up, for a little while, but it doesn't look like a fight will be breaking out anytime soon either, unless CU gets engaged on here. She is playing with fire, going for that control ward, but Loveless seen on the mid wave, not going to be able to make anything happen there. So looks like these teams are mostly just going to kind of reset, try to set up for this Drake that is spawning in 45 seconds now, clear out some of that vision, get more wards down. But I think if a fight does break out, TTMG should be pretty favored here.
And keep in mind as well, Wango and Chain was able to pick up the red buff that the jungler was able to give over. So lots of potential for this Urgot. Fear Beyond Death has been so consistent in landing. Vincent's got to be a little bit careful trying to bait this 1v1 out there, has the jungler, but is spotted on a ward. But I like this from Mint, is playing off as saying, like, I do not see your jungler. I'm still going to maintain the aggression, is keeping CJ Lopez down, but you ate almost half your HP. That's tough.
That is a lot of damage to eat, but up on the top side, Wango has gotten the turret, is continuing to kind of split push, and To the Moon do have the option of just giving this Drake and letting that Urgot accelerate himself even more, because he is in a great spot to carry this game if he continues on this trend. Does look like both teams want to fight the dragon though, and the teleports are available for both top laners.
And Yuri got awkwardly cut off there, so it has to make the long flight back all the way around the dragon pit. So that's going to shred a lot of time. And here's Mint. Just needs to avoid the charm. It's just such a huge threat that they have to constantly respect. CJ Lopez trying to pressure off on the right side, and here come the TPs from both of them. This is going to be an all-out brawl. They're responding to the flank by immediately turning on him, and an early burn from the flash as CU is able to escape. Another flash burn, but because of the actual burn from Brand, it's gonna go ahead and torch the poor carry down. Spoober just trying to escape, and here on the other side, we're gonna look at their Mint is just trying to survive, has all the teammates on there, and is able to escape. Has the ignite ticking down, and here comes Vincent. What an angle on the charm, but it's not good enough. An overextension gets punished instantly. A clean fight for the TTMG, and a dragon is gonna be their prize.
It is only the second dragon, but that is a nice fight for TTMG to get. And they are also going to drop the Rift Herald. That might be 2 turrets taken in the mid lane if they can keep this up. Gold lead explodes to 7,000 now, and TTMG firmly taking control of this mid game with that lead they had built earlier. Okay, Herald probably just going to die before it gets that next charge off after all, but still is a turret taken, and that gold just going to keep ballooning even further, because the thing about Strawberry Ira's composition is they have to go in. They don't really have a good way to play these fights front to back. They need to find someone and go in, which on the one hand gives them a great option for, you know, grabbing some of these shutdowns. There are big gold bounties on the side of To The Moon that they can get. But if they go in and they just get wallet diffed, I mean, they don't really have any other way to play these fights. So it's looking really scary for Strawberry Ira in this game.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's just a quick little combo, deleting that sort of tank's health bar.
Through Drunken Rage, too. So even the damage reduction, not going to be enough. And Fortune is quietly getting more items and quietly becoming a threat, because in all these team fights, we're seeing that burn. And it is bright, it is dangerous, and those are 2 burn items acquired as well, the Blackfire Torch and Leandri's Torment. And Torment is going to be the right word to be used, because honestly, Brand is going to be able to provide so much space. Team fights are going to be so much harder to pilot because you always have to respect it. We'll have to see a Fortune. And what a prediction on the step back, but there's no follow-up because, unfortunately, CJ Lopez was just not close enough, or they just didn't want to engage because there's no vision. But speaking of engage, goodbye, see you.
See you, yeah. Kind
Whoa,
of
whoa, 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 whoa. Oh my goodness.
Brand!
Brand is able to do so much!
What?
Fortune goes and able to get a kill. The double burn, the triple burn, right? That's triple.
Yeah, that is triple burn. I mean, Brand has some silly interactions with items, or if you're playing Aaron Mayhem, some silly interactions with augments as well, with everything. Because his passive counts as a spell. He's got some silly stuff going on, and it's a nice pick by Strawberry Ira onto CU, who was walking up a little too far to get some vision, but after that, it is all To The Moon Galatea in that fight.
That was a mistimed dash, but I think Loveless is going to go ahead. Fear Beyond Death. Wango? Maybe he's just like Django. Got them shots down on point and is executing your enemies. Being able to get so much value off of this Urgot. 8-0, by the way.
That is a statement performance. I mean, we've seen several things that could be called statement performances in this series so far, but the 8-0 Urgot might be the most dominant so far. Maybe the Zoe last game, really. But I mean, this game isn't over. There is still an opportunity for Dwango to get a pentakill or something to go even further beyond what we've seen out of anyone this series. And yeah, I mean, it's looking really rough for Strawberry Ira. I would expect To The Moon Galatea to be looking for this Baron here. If they don't get that, then maybe the next Dragon, but here comes another engaged topside.
And here comes Flag and Drag, early charm utilized as well. Great timing on the CC, but once again, that's so much damage. Cataclysm is down. That's a big ultimate burn, but because Vincent just gets smacked away, has TP, so is able to reset right on back to the Baron. But I really feel like the PTSD from game number 1 is starting to kick in. They're very, very, very tentative on starting this up.
Yeah, I mean, that's what came back to bite them. And
Fortune is in trouble. I think you just try to nuke. You just do as much damage as you can before you go down. And honestly, it could be quite a lot. Don't bunch up together, my friends. You just gotta separate and get away. But that's a free kill given. The objectives are up, but because of how behind and also the wave states, you can't really be able to pressure that Baron at all.
No pressure on the Baron from Strawberry Ira, but it is still a nice kill onto the Brand. That is one of the members who did not have nearly as large of a shutdown, though, so a relatively small prize. Fortune did also have the flash. I thought he might have been able to live if he had used it, but probably more important to save it for when, you know, you're in a fight and your team can actually back you up instead of just trying desperately to live against all odds. And now, despite the dead Brand...
Oh my goodness.
To the moon.
Lopez should have died,
over
right?
the bot
Like,
side jungle.
What? Am I crazy for that? It felt like that Vi just stepped up and just kind of like whistled her way out. Just like, I'm sorry. I didn't really mean to interrupt your get together in this team fight. It really looks like they're tentative on pulling the trigger, but speaking of pulling the trigger, that countless goes huge. Being able to chase it down there at the tidal wave as a follow-up, a lot of abilities burn, but I think you're going down. Vi is there across the map. Here comes Mint, forcing out a flash. The threat of this Akali is real. Another dragon in the works, and Soul Point is up next afterwards. My goodness, To the Moon is playing phenomenally.
Phenomenal play from To the Moon. That was a 4v5, by the way. Fortune wasn't even there, but To the Moon just sends it onto the enemy team, takes advantage of some of those cooldowns being down, and they win hard in the fight. I mean, it's only one kill, but that's all they need to get themselves a Drake, and Strawberry Ira is 2 behind to capitalize on it. They get a little bit of vision around the Baron, but as soon as To the Moon steps back into that area, that should be cleared up real quick. And so, yeah, it's a paltry compensation prize, that topside vision.
What is Spoobert's second item? Oh my goodness! Right after Protobuild? That's
yeah, I don't know. That's a weird kind of like off-tank Gragas thing. I mean, he has a lot of ability haste, but there's frankly, at this point, not a lot of damage on the side of Strawberry Ira. Most of it has to come through from this Corki, who, you know, the bot lane for Ira is one of the few points that is actually doing pretty well. Oh, fight top?
Oh my
Fortune?
goodness. I felt like they could have turned on there. So Fortune takes the brunt force and can't get any abilities off. But no, the ult was just able to come out, but they split away. PTSD is kicking in. Hearts are pumping. You're near the Baron. This is where last time you lost out. And all of a sudden, Fortune has died back-to-back with nothing to really gain from it. At least Wango Unchained is just forcing presence, forcing the top laner to come back. But in all honesty, the cracks and these kind of mistakes, they're going to add up, and I'm nervous.
It is a little nerve-wracking to see those back-to-back deaths. Staggering the deaths like that gives your opponent so much space to work with. It delays you from, you know, pushing your lead, getting that big purple worm into your pocket. And so if something like that happens again for To the Moon, we could be looking at a repeat of game number 1, but they are still in a better spot overall. All of their solo laners are, you know, firmly up ahead. I feel like when we were at a similar point in game number 1, despite all the kills, the itemization was actually pretty similar. But yeah, Dwango is up a full item on his counterpart. Mint has the Seeker's Arm Guard completed as well as those Empowered Mech Treads, so it's going to be so hard to pick off. And with how reliant Strawberry Ira's team composition is on finding a pick, that is a good sign for To the Moon.
We'll see if it's able to come to fruition. They are still behind, even though that these Fortune is being gifted with the deaths. They're not major shutdowns, so you still got that going for you. And here comes the vision being cleared out. A little bit of housekeeping. This is what we expected. Love us. Oh my goodness, instant engage. Oh, they want this Pyke dead. They want this Pyke gone and has to flash away. A flash for flash, however. So being able to stay alive and instant engage. Oh my goodness, Fear Beyond Death just barely misses. Yuri is alive, but so is Mint. They're going to go ahead and back away. I think they're going to go ahead and peel back to the Baron to potentially pressure it. But I know they're nervous. I know that they really do not want to start this out there. They may be ridiculously ahead, but there's still room for error. A lot of key ultimates were burned.
Several ultimates and several flashes burned. That's going to make a fight tough to take. Oh, but Charm
Charm.
being down. But there's still Vi charging the Vault Breaker means you cannot go in. Oh, they re-engage off the wave? What is this?
I felt like it was a disconnected call, right? Like, I think Min was just like, oh, can I go in? Off of this mark, I'll utilize your tidal wave to stop Gragas body slam from interrupting. But because of that, that's another defensive ultimate burned near this Baron fight. And now, look at all these members. They're all healed up and pressuring out this mid. Another charm goes wide, however, so this might be the opening they're looking for as they're going to go ahead and just run it back, peel it back. But you can tell how nervous both sides are playing.
If To The Moon can keep Strawberry Ira grouped up in this mid lane and just continue establishing vision dominance, I don't think they're too upset about that. You know, if the gold lead, I mean, they would like to blow this gold lead open a little more, but there is just a minute until this Drake. If they can keep them kind of locked up, stop them from farming the side waves themselves, and set up vision for this Drake, that could be good for them. But Loveless is going to step up and pressure CU out of that bush to get some vision down. Loses the Edge of Night, though.
No, that's gone, and whoa. You got to get out fast. And that speeder from Nami was deadly. Oh my goodness. Giggity try to go on there. No interrupt, thank goodness. Oh my god. That could have been a Pike done and dusted. They're going to go ahead and pressure this mid area. Yuri getting this damage down. The Corgi's got 3 items, so relatively strong. If you're able to sit back and pump out this damage, the AD carry could be a threat, which Pike can swoop in and reap the rewards and start some executions going on. But the problem is getting there is another story. Giggity just flag and drags in casually, walks away. This, I can tell both sides are nervous.
This is a tough approach for Strawberry Ira. The wrong step into any of these bushes, any of these choke points could mean you're getting flipped, you're getting jumped on by the Akali, and CJ Lopez is getting chunked.
Yeah, that's a huge one, but it's supposed to catch you. The Bunny Slam misses, however, and here comes the tidal wave. CJ Lopez just has to run away, but I think this is going to be the fight that's good enough. 2 kills for free. Yuri trying to scramble on away and trying to return the damage, but Burning Bright, great Zanya's Hourglass, but it will be just enough to survive. A free Baron, no throw needed, and I think that actually might be soul afterwards, and there's nothing that can be done. Loveless trying to maintain presence, trying to find an angle, trying to find a miracle out of nowhere. But I think this is all done and dusted.
That should be the Baron for free. And Loveless is in a bit of a risky position here. If some CC can come through over the wall, Seer from Brand does miss, but the burn is ticking even through that Pike passive. The resets are a little late here. There is a slight chance CJ Lopez can try to get in and stop this Mountain Soul from going down. And Vincent also is getting a little bit of money back in the mid lane, but I do think when all is said and done, this probably will be the Dragon Soul claimed alongside the Baron, and that should give To The Moon Galatea access to the enemy's base.
Yeah, and here comes Mint as well with the aggression instead. Opts to pull it back. I really love their straight. I'm starting to see from To The Moon Galatea. It feels like that they've learned their mistakes, because in all honesty, the biggest part was just how many times they were dying. Wangle Unchained, remember, most deaths in the entire area this time is deathless, is preventing the restraint.
Vault
Here
breaker
comes
charged.
the flip. It's just gonna be an honest burger flip. Gets it, stalls out the game a little longer, cut your losses and run. You finally got a small little break, and Ari pressuring that mid. Really good stuff. They're clawing. They know they're gonna die soon, but they're not going out without a fight, and these small decisions might be able to add up. Will it result in an easy W? No, but it's a start.
The start is how you make the comeback happen, and yeah, getting that objective bounty and getting the mid wave shoved in means that the Baron pressure. Hold on.
Oh my goodness, that was disgusting! Wango Unchained says, "Fear not, death comes for you all," and a nice little flash out play, explosive cast. Great play, honestly, by Spooper. Both top laners trying to mess up the mid laner, but only one's got the damage to vomit on there. Giggity goes in huge. This Angel, the Guardian, is right there and waiting. Here comes the damage as well. Has to run away. Fortune's a little low, and that's a first execute. Hold on. If the hook lands, no, has to flash away. So thankfully, it will not snowball into something disastrous as Wango Unchained overstaying their visit a little bit. Can you get away? I do not think so, but look how tanky this top laner is.
I mean, smart move by Wango to get that. Hold on.
Oh my goodness, they literally just bumped into each other, and this is going to be initiation, and I think that's going to spell the disaster. That was just nothing. They both just literally collided heads into each other, but there's nothing much you can really do. The base is being destroyed around you, and you have nothing else but to twiddle your fingers, twiddle your thumbs, try to get something as well.
Charm.
Nice little charm lands, but that Guardian Angel is still in play. Giggity's not afraid to die, but in front of the entire enemy team, I do not think your team is going to bail you out, but just barely gets out.
Buffer's there. Loveless doesn't have the charge on the ult.
Oh, goodness. And they're just trying to run away. Here's a slow chase, but here, because look at Mint. Look at Mint. Ready to go. Trying to land it down. Oh my goodness. Fear beyond death. It comes for us all. It's guaranteed. Legendary is Mint. And they're going to go ahead and punish that slow chase attempt with a fast base death.
Baron buff is out now, so if they can clear this wave out, Ira could buy themselves another lease on life, but it will be short-lived even if they do.
Oh no, the smoke screen able to get it. CJ Lopez tried their best and a great explosive cast. They're shredding away at the minions, but in all honesty, look at the sustain, even the redemption kicking in. Look at the respawn timers. I think it's just all but inevitable. Mint goes legendary, has gone huge. 12-1 is the score line, and we're moving on to a game number 4.
And To the Moon Galatea showing why they gave Mint the counter pick there. Last pick for the Zakale going legendary. Wango Unchained also 12-0 on the Urgot. Huge performances from the solo laners of To the Moon Galatea once again. And this time they hold on. They stick to their guns. I think smart itemization from Wango Unchained is what I was trying to get at before we had the re-engage after re-engage after re-engage into the end of the game. Is once you have that threshold where you can kill people, you don't need more damage. You just need to make sure you don't die. And Wango learned his lesson, and that might be what it takes to win the game here. Are you muted? Because I'm not hearing.
There we go. I fixed it. I fixed it. There we go.
Okay.
I think one of the biggest parts, CJ Lopez got completely shut down. Went completely deathless the entire series, and then this time got completely smacked down. Especially when you're on an engaged character like Vi, you have no choice but to go in. We talked about it earlier, their entire team comp is to go in. You have all those dashes, but they were literally dashing to their demise from how strong To the Moon was able to be out right here. And that is a huge, huge win.
Massive win for To the Moon, massive mental reset. We'll see if they bring it back in game number 4 or, how things will switch up. But yeah, I mean, I'm very pleased with To the Moon for turning things around. I thought that could be a moment where they tilt and they just flame out in a quick 3-0, and they are showing they are not going down without a fight. They have plenty of fighting spirit left in them yet.
I'm excited for it, in all honesty. I feel like that the first game, absolute disaster. Let's all be real. They had such a great lead going on, and they just quickly fell apart, dying at 3 key moments that led to their demise. But this time, we're able to be so disciplined, even after being absolutely tossed in game number 2. What a comeback within the mentality. Hopefully, they're able to carry that power and energy on, because it's going to be a long series, because they have to reverse sweep.
And I want to shout out the bot lane for To the Moon Galatea this game, because my chief concern for them was that, okay, maybe the top side is fine with, playing into this dive heavy composition, but the Brand and the Nami are 2 champions that are extremely susceptible to getting jumped on. And they did a good job of minimizing their deaths. We saw they got caught a few times here and there, maybe that's to be expected. It's hard to go, deathless into a composition that has the Pike, the Vi, the Ahri, that's so many tools to try to get kills on you. But they nevertheless did their jobs. We saw great value tidal waves from CU. Even when Fortune was getting caught, he was, getting the pyroclasm off and just melting the enemy team and making it so they couldn't, take anything off of the kills. So I think, considering what they were up against, also great performance from the To the Moon bot lane.
So we'll have to see more reverse sweep potentially in the works in this series. Don't go on. We're going to go on a quick break, and we're moving on to another game. A series that is not over yet, clinging on to life and working on a reverse sweep. That is all that can be provided today if you want to survive our To the Moon Galatea. I am Wolfie Scratch, and I'm joined by Freedom Potatoes. What a turnaround!
It's a turnaround, but in some ways, it's back to the old ways for To the Moon. Dominance from the solo lanes, but this time, a cleaner, tighter endgame brings things home for them to bring this series to a score of 2-1 in favor of Strawberry Ira. Had that game one played out a little bit differently, we could be looking at a 2-1 in favor of To the Moon, but still going to need to be the reverse sweep from To the Moon, and they've shown they have the potential to make it happen. Going into game 4, though, a lot of those comfort picks are going to be off the table, and so this is where I think really, most teams get to play those 3-game series during the regular season, but once you make it to playoffs, this is where the pools start to get stretched a little more thin. And we already saw some potential discomfort last game. I mean, up in the top lane, we had Spoobert on, a pick that is really meant to neutralize these aggressive matchups, and it wasn't really able to do it. 0-8, I think, was the final score line for him, and with, Wango totally taking over on the Urgot. And so we'll see if we can get some more comfortable picks onto the side of both of these teams. Really, we'll see if To the Moon's runway has run out, or if Strawberry Ira is on the receiving end of some of this beatdown now.
Yeah, we talked about a lot about how, because a lot of these picks are starting to get choked out, we could see bans and picks get switched around. A big one that has been the huge focus has been Orianna, has been Galio, Nocturne, not being able to see the light of day, Shen as well. High emphasis on these global ultimates, global pressure that can quickly turn the tide, and as well as provide split push pressure. I'll be able to see. I think it'll be really interesting to see what will happen, especially since for me, the biggest question mark is bot lane and what they're going to play, because we're starting to see they're not afraid to play the mage bot lanes, and the ADC pool is starting to get a little smaller.
I guess picking the mages does mean there are more ADCs than would normally be expected at this point in a series. But yes, a lot of these like staple picks, like the Corki, have been taken off the table, and so be interesting to see what they pull out. I feel like the bot lane in particular has been a land of surprises for us.
Yeah.
With the brand, the Mel, even the Senna was, I not seeing that I have seen too much these days. So yeah, I wonder what we'll see this time.
Because also, I think this was the first time bot lane got volatile. Usually it's been a very like neutral zone, both of like the junglers and as well as they're willing to go ahead and maintain that aggression, but usually it just results in a flash. Everyone is able to retreat away and maintain that neutral zone. It's been the solo lanes that have been the big topic of discussion. I am not surprised to see the side swap. We mentioned how much earlier Mint was prioritized into getting the last pick. We're gonna have to see what the turnaround is, because Orianna is not the first ban. Could we see a change? And Ziggs struck away.
A possible angle I could see here is, I know Mint plays a lot of Aurelia in the mid lane. That's his most played in solo queue. And Aurelia is pretty good into Orianna. So they could be trying to leave that pick up to set up a counter with the Aurelia. That's a possibility I'm considering here. When you see something that's been the first ban suddenly get swapped out, you have to be a little conscious of the fact that the enemy team might have something prepped for it.
Yeah, as well as like these characters, the Galio as well struck away. The Galio and Shen, we both talked about it earlier, the staple ones where no team really wants to have access to because of the pressure. And Orianna banned away on the other side. It looks like Strawberry Ira got a little nervous.
Yeah, maybe they thought that To the Moon was going to pick the Orianna. I feel like I don't think Mint has many games on it. But yeah, the Nocturne, which, I mean, maybe that's just a play. Leave the Orianna up, and bait the opponents into banning it so you can get that Nocturne that has been hotly contested during the ban phase this whole series. And if that was their goal, then well played. If the goal
Pantheon
was something else, and that's the other global that I've been talking about. I've been like, they banned the Nocturne, the Galio, the Shen. There's at least one more, the Pantheon. Why haven't they picked that? I guess Twisted Fate's also an option. He, maybe we'll see him make an appearance if they value the global so highly. But
Ezreal,
I feel like he's not a typical pick. Ezreal, though, that is a unique champion. Has the tools to get away from Nocturne if he gets dove on with that paranoia. And also pretty effective at following up on that Pantheon, which could be a flex pick. That could be a support, jungle, maybe even top or mid. It's tough to say.
Yeah. And Lux is picked and shown. They're not afraid to go for these mage bot lanes and as well as Maokai. So this leaves a lot. So Nocturne usually is like the jungler character, can go to lane. Maokai can be a top and jungler. Lux can go
And
mid.
support.
Yeah, but we've seen Fortune being the one playing the mage bot lanes.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Lux bot lane. Rakan selected as well. They're going to go ahead and get a nice CC heavy team. I'm loving this stuff from Rakan and as well as Pantheon. I think I'm really happy that the characters that we're talking about before the draft started are the ones getting selected or struck away.
The Rakan loves having other champions with mobility and CC on his team, especially something like the Pantheon sets up, the combo for his E into his W so nicely. Also can use Ezreal as kind of a defensive tool to get away if Ezreal uses the Arcane Shift away. And I am wondering that there is a possibility that it's a Lux Maokai bot lane. I mean, the Maokai would be great for setting up Lux's combo. Lux into Ezreal also kind of makes sense. She can, match his range and outdo him in the wave clear department. That is one of Ezreal's notable weaknesses. And the Udyr going to be picked up for Strawberry Ira, probably going top for Spoobert because that is one of his most played champions. But we'll see if that ends up being the case.
The Trick 2G Classic. It don't matter where it is. And we're starting. Oh my goodness, is that Tom Catch? The catfish of the river, the demon. That can go top lane. So you could still be right about the Maokai Lux bot lane. CC heavy, like you said earlier, especially with the Maokai root. As long as you just don't grief with the smash, and that's gonna be Yone selected. My goodness.
So the Yone is also a flex pick, although given how we've seen the type of champions that Mint likes to play, I'd guess that's mid for him. Rise gonna be the answer. Pretty good answer. Has a point and click CC, gets pretty tanky, so it's hard for Yone to just push E and click on you until you die. But I do like the team composition that To The Moon Galatea has drafted. They've got themselves some range with the Lux, a lot of ways to make picks happen and make engage happen, but Strawberry Iris comp is no slouch either. They have a lot of damage in the Rise and that Ezreal and also plenty of CC for themselves.
Plenty of work. We are right about the Lux and Maokai. We'll see how it's able to stabilize out. Tom Kench top lane, seen it plenty of times from your favorite streamers. It doesn't matter where it is. Nice, sustainable pick that can do some nice brawling power. We'll have to see how it works against this Udyr. As you mentioned earlier, that Spoobert does play a lot, so it's going to be a nice comfort pick, which I think is good in order to kind of sustain yourself. It just depends how the team will be revolved around it. Yone mid is a very, very, very dangerous champion for both teams because let's be honest, we've seen what happens when Yone doesn't get ahead, but we've also seen what happens when the Yone is able to just absolutely decimate it. And from the previous game, as we've seen, both teams are capable of setting up early leads and not throwing it.
If the Yone gets ahead, he will be scary, but it is scary for Yone that he is playing against a Rise, who has a point-and-click root, and Pantheon, who has a point-and-click stun. We've seen Mint get caught off guard by some of these early ganks, and this is one of the strongest, 2v2, 2v1 gank setups that we have here. So you think that Yone is going to need to be piloted a little safely in the early game, but if he can get unleashed, he is going to run over this squad.
It just depends on that one. Yone's the ticking time bomb. All of a sudden, you just need to play sure and make it safe. But I'm terrified of this Rise. You've seen the horrors of Actualizer Rise, right? That thing, it is. Your backline's not safe. It doesn't matter as long as you're packed quite together, especially when you're showing tanks and front lines. It could be real dangerous and a real sight to see. Going ahead, they're going to go ahead and establish this main position. Doran's Blade is going to be purchased on Yone, not opting for the shield. Needs to keep hitting those, minions and being able to provide that pressure. Keep in mind also that Giggity did get the Green Smite.
Green Smite on Nocturne. Interesting. Going to make him a little tankier, I guess, when he goes in. One of the risks with playing Nocturne is if you dive ahead of your team and you just get turned on, that you just get exploded. And looks like Spoobert has gone for the Doran's Ring start, probably indicating that he is going for that, off-tank AP Udyr build, which is more typical, not for some AD thing. Look at that trading level 1.
Phoenix form, gotta always be careful, and Twisted Advance is able to get a little bit of damage, not opting to try to get the Aftershock, just opting to get a nice point and click, but a little bit of safe poke damage. It's going to be really up to Rakan to try to close that distance. Early on, it's going to be difficult because honestly, CU can literally pull off the name as true and being able to avoid a CC with a well-timed one. But speaking of well-timed, level 2 priority, when you have these 80 carry players and champions, you're able to push the wave to get that priority. And I love how Fortune and CU just completely respect it and can play back because they do not want to let this bot lane get too volatile. Ezreal is scary.
Yeah, they don't want it to get too volatile, but they do have good CC setup if the jungler does show up. In the mid lane, Mint getting aggressive.
That's a lot of damage. Honestly, if I'm Mint, maybe because I'm just like a little bit on the safer side, I would have opted to not hold at all and use like my skill shots. I would have just kept autoing because Rise is just going to keep on piloting, try to get all around. You're able to just get nice consistent damage, and once again Twisted advance. Great timing on the CC chain from both of them, but look at Ezreal. Yuri is swinging it on back, and already a fight happening in this top side. What? Oh my goodness, Lopez goes down a first blood to Yone. That's the worst person you can give it to.
Mint, using that trade that he took against Vincent earlier, had a lot of priority, and Vincent had to, whoa.
Oh my god, you're gone. You're dead. What's going on? This is supposed to be the neutral zone.
This is supposed to be the zone of non-aggression, but oh no.
I think you could just die.
Wait.
1v2, great flash in the bush, the shield, not enough to come back, but still able to get it. The wave won't crash either. You'll take that one. 2 kills happening in the bot lane, 1 happening in the top. Break this one down. And we're not going to draft. It's already.
So yeah, I think this. You can see I'm very big brain. I know that Lux Maokai is going to be the bot lane for To The Moon Galatea this game. As you can see, you know, I have
that was
foresight.
A good guess. How'd you get
anyway, we are back in game here. It was this game is as explosive as any. With a three kills to 1,000 gold lead for To The Moon Galatea at just 3.5 minutes into the game, and yeah, it was great usage of that priority from Mint to get that first kill. Then down in the bottom lane, the CC layering so deadly. CU leading the charge for To The Moon Galatea to get those kills down bottom lane. But you do see the power of Ezreal in an extended trade. When he has his passive and that lethal tempo stacked up, he does so much damage.
Yeah, and a roam as well from the Lux AP carry on the bot lane. Raz able to go on there. I would love to go back and take a look at what happened because in all honesty, it happened so fast. Many things were able to happen within a blink of an eye. Here comes bot lane kind of setting it up. Maokai with this twisted advance is such a deadly character. But Yone, it's Mint after all, and it's a very scary what this character can do. Opting to hold on to the pole, that's a lot of damage though. Yikes.
Has a red buff, so we'll be able to sustain up a lot as long as he has that, but it might be running out pretty soon here. And yeah, bot wave crashed in by Strawberry Ira, cleared out and will meet in the middle likely, but they're trying to keep this shoved in. Not exactly sure why. I mean, neither jungler is really in the area, so I guess they're just trying to maintain, a slight level advantage and be able to get a good reset off. That dragon is live, and CJ Lopez does seem to be moving down bot, though.
CJ Lopez opting to go down. Ooh, great binding. Is able to land, so nice, a little bit of damage. To prevent this dive, it's all going to be up to CU. Really needs to time the smash in order to interrupt the dashes. So if Loveless is smart, they're both going to coordinate their CC timers to try to separate out there. Or honestly, don't opt for it at all. They're going to go ahead and be real strong on shoving this out there. And here, Spoobert is no flash, no ghost, feared up, Giggity with an in-lane gank. Great usage of the turtle form, but it means not. The shell has been cracked and a nice little kill. A twisted advance leads in there, but because of the delay, that's what I was afraid of. If you don't line up the CC correctly, Ezreal can able to get away, or the Decimated Smash will just knock you aside. Still, they're gonna go ahead and just recall.
Gank up top lane is successful. Dwango doesn't even have to burn the Devour, so we'll still have that for the 1v1 if he needs it. And I didn't see how Spoobert had lost the Ghost earlier, but yeah, not having that brutal in that 1v2 situation. Tom Kench has caught up in the CS department, was kind of, losing out. Took some bad trades because Udyr's early levels kind of ridiculous with that Phoenix stance. And
stop it.
But there is still an ult for the Tom Kench here.
Yeah, this is a little
Oh.
Yeah, you can. That's at half HP, by the way.
Yeah, the wildling claw damage is insane. I mean, I feel like I've mostly seen that happen in like the Udyr versus Mundo thing, where Mundo's tanky, Udyr just pushes Q twice, and goodbye Mundo. But Tom Kench is also a health stacking tank, so a very similar thing could happen to him if the Udyr invests into that. But it does seem like it's going to be more so the Phoenix stance, the Wingborn Storm, that is the focus, I think, for Spoobert this game. Which, gives them better wave clear, is a little more reliable in team fights, doesn't require you to get up close and personal as much, but is a little worse at dealing with that health stacking.
Yeah. I'm surprised.
Oh.
What? You're just gonna go in? I think here it comes.
Oh.
Pantheon's trying to go on down. What a binding! It hit the Ezreal as well. See you with the nice little smash as well. They survive, and then there's so many resources burned, and they're staying alive. They're not going down anytime soon, and here goes no flash. You can't do it like that. Mint is able to pick up a free one, and honestly, Yuri, not happy about getting snared up like that one. That could have been a great kill. But speaking of snare, oh my goodness, this is going to be a great amount of damage. But keep in mind, Ezreal's an 80 carry. He's able to pump back all that damage with the AD damage. And this see you, no, that didn't kill.
See you barely living, and Ezreal still has the barrier. Flash just came up too, so if Fortune gets too aggressive, could be punished for it. Looking back in the mid lane, Vincent had that unfortunately timed flash trying to survive the Nocturne gank. You gotta wait till he hits you to use the flash, and so Spoobert and Dwango now fighting.
You can that's that shit. Oh my goodness, and great stuff on their goal. Arcane Shift out of that one. No mana on this Lux. I know Yuri desperately wants this kill, but you might be overstaying your welcome. Knows that the Nocturne ult is down, so there's less pressure to deal with, but inevitably, Fortune will be able to do it, being able to escape. And once again, the roam mid. Oh my goodness. This is a Ryze that can survive, however. Great and tanky. Nice survivability. Excellent peel away. Great stuff by Vincent to dodge out on that one. But we'll have to see because, I've seen Ryzes overstay their welcome because they get confident on dodging out those abilities. That's going to be a nice little objective secured in the top side at least.
Grubs going over to the moon, and with that lead they have on those solo lanes, Yone especially can be such a side lane demon, so getting those grubs going to be very nice for them. CU did burn her flash in the mid lane, so misses out on the gank in spite of that. I think Mint missed the that third Q on the Yone. Nice juke by Vincent, you could argue, instead of a miss, but nevertheless is going to burn the ghost on the Ryze and get some pressure, get that objective done. We do have the Nocturne ult used.
Top lane? Oh, okay.
There we go.
I thought it was a fat figure at that point because there was someone standing still.
He was holding it.
The Devour, and you're gone. My goodness. Spoobert, back-to-back games of the struggle, and I feel for you, my friend, because the pressure is definitely on. Wango Unchained has been playing out of his mind ever since their previous game. They just locked in, refused to die, and now is continuing on with their lead. This Nocturne is 2-0 at 10 minutes.
Hexplay already completed for Giggity. That is not what you want to see, because that means more paranoia is coming your way. And so far, they have been consistent in their value. Strawberry IRA not like field goal from the Ezreal, but is able to stop Fortune's recall and get some damage in. No teleport for the Lux either means this is going to be a nice wave crash for the side of Strawberry Ira, and at least the plating taken if they want it. Could mean an overstay from them, depending on how this plays out, because there is a dragon in 45 seconds. Both teams do want to be in that area early if they're going to contest it.
Yeah, and see that damage in that top side? That's the Udyr. Once again, like, you may be able to kill this character over and over and over again, but when they get that push, especially with the Phoenix form and the ability power being able to be utilized by the Doran's Ring, Dark Seal, and as well as the tier to accompany that mana, all of a sudden, here it comes. The re-engage spell shield will be able to block out the charm at least. Wow, being able to force to flash away. Great job. That is key abilities burnt as well for this dragon. They're going to go ahead and recall quickly. They want to be ready to fight this one.
getting that flash down from Nocturne is nice, but in the context of this upcoming dragon fight, losing out on your Pantheon and your Rakan ults could be disastrous. I mean, you really need those engaged tools to find a pick onto someone in the back line if you're going to contest this objective. And Mint has just TP'd in, doesn't have a first item yet, but is getting close, and Vincent.
God.
Oh.
And just beat the tar out of him.
That should be enough to secure them the Drake with that priority in the mid lane. CJ Lopez up top side now.
Great stuff. Great wait. Knowing that only thing that can take it was a clutch Ezreal ult, and the Hex Gates have activated a Hex Dragon Soul up for grabs, which could be providing, it could be very lethal for Strawberry Era if they're able to get it. But if is the number one question. A little bit of an extension out here. I think Wango Unchained will be finding themselves in a little bit of a mess. I think they're not going to be able to survive this one. Trying to go for the wonderful trade. Great flash forward, and all of a sudden,
3 levels up.
Yeah, you don't have actually a lot of the consistent damage, and you're going to go ahead and go in there. Oh my goodness! You went on a magical journey. You're not even playing Bard at this point. Has to burn the heal to stay alive, and CU is able to escape. What a play by Wango Unchained, is able to get it and the clutch level up.
Wango Unchained 1v2ing makes it out. And I think if he'd had a little bit more haste there, a little bit more cooldowns to get some more of those Tongue Lashes, and he might have been able to take out that Pantheon, because so that was a 3-level lead he found himself in there.
Jesus.
It's just brutal to deal with. And Mint trading aggressively once again.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, the flash as well. Oh, they will end up trading 1 for 1. It was a good attempt, but instead we'll have to opt for that. The pressure that this Yone is starting to really pull out, it's nasty. But at the same time, if you're Vincent, you're honestly a little happy. Like, yeah, you have to trade the flashes, but your CS game is still strong, and you got your Rod and Tier.
You're stacking Rod completed. That is a nice place for Ryze to be on, but the Yone is able to exert so much more pressure right now. Ryze is a nice insurance policy. We'll be able to deal with the Yone pretty effectively once the later parts of the game roll around, but we're not there yet. And you saw Mint went for a nice little Q flash ult combo there that gets you out of the Q travel animation, so you can perfectly layer your ultimate. But Vincent had thrown the snare, and speaking of snares, it's not going to come through from CU, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's another failed gank. Vincent's happy to survive, but at least this time he didn't blow. Wait, is that another flash burnt?
He blew Ghost, and CU burned her flash.
Okay, so it's like a repeat of history, huh?
Yep, they keep getting these summoner spells burnt, but they do want to convert that into something more if they're going to really blow open this mid lane. Turret is getting low there, but low doesn't mean much, and
Yeah, they just hate Spoobert, huh? But honestly, I think Spoobert's fine, right? Like, you're just able
Spoobert's fine.
Yeah,
Nice root.
Oh, that's so much. Oh my goodness! I think you're still gone. However, lots of layered CC, the twisted advance, trying to get something, trying to survive, but it matters not. Nature's Grasp, twisted advance, it matters to not all. They're gonna go ahead and get 2 crucial kills. The Ezreal is gonna be the mainstay of this show in order for Strawberry Era to make this game happen.
Ezreal going to be the main character here as they do get that first turret down in the bottom lane. Despite playing into this wave clear heavy Lux, they have managed to chip that down with some nice kills they have found. A nice ultimate from CJ Lopez. And CU was kind of trying to bail Fortune out there, but just walked too close and all dies as well. So despite the kill score favoring To The Moon Galatea, gold once again equalized by the side of Strawberry Ira.
It's like a scary repeat of what has previously happened in the series. Like, all of a sudden your top laner is like doing super well, is able to stay ahead, but now all of a sudden the focus in this bot lane to make sure it's not even, to make sure that it's not gonna be this nice little comfort area for both of these players to do. They're putting a lot of emphasis on this Ezreal and strong setting this bot lane with the Pantheon because of that pressure able to exert. We'll have to see how well it can do, because Yone may be strong, as you mentioned earlier, but the CC chain that Yone can fall victim to is something that I've yet to see happen for now, but I am afraid of it.
Feels like the name of the game for Strawberry Ira is going to be peeling for Yuri. That is, you know, you have the Yone and the Nocturne coming at you, and if they can get onto that Ezreal, he is going to pop. But there's a lot of CC from the Rise, from the Pantheon, from the Rakan, and if they can use that to their advantage, then the Ezreal will be fine. And so here we have Herald summoned up in the mid lane and a dragon spawning in 5 seconds.
Yeah, and they're gonna go ahead and okay, let's not do that.
That Herald might get no value now.
Yeah, actually though, they're gonna try and push this Herald forward, but honestly, I think you're just overstaying it. Yeah, don't force this engage. A wasted Herald, that is really unfortunate. Now the dragon is all of a sudden the talk of the town, but Fortune throwing out all these abilities, they're on a timer now, and look at this front line. But I think honestly, yeah, Vince is doing the right thing, just saying like, hey, you're gonna go ahead and get all this damage. Okay, I don't know why we were just, you know, proudly strolling up onto the mid lane. Has to burn the flash, but here it comes. All the members showing up to this mid lane fight and having to peel away once again. So they did get a free flash, but unfortunately, you will not be able to get that dragon. Here comes the slow, however, but I think Lopez will be able to just kind of walk away.
What about Spoobert though?
Uh-oh. They just don't like Spoobert, huh?
He's been a bit of a punching bag these past 2 games. Does make it out though. Oh wait, never mind.
Yeah. Oh no, Mint. A little bit of a scary situation, and Udyr is just gonna go ahead and just limp on out. Is good enough. Great stuff, and trying to get a little bit more, but we gotta be careful. Giggity barely stays alive. Here comes the charm and the re-engage. Here comes a little bit of a fight happening on that mid, but because you're an AD Terry, you have the more consistent damage. Yuri with a nice solo kill. Break this tower now. They're gonna go ahead and do so. So Udyr once again tossed back into the fight. It's like nothing has changed.
Yeah, they keep just fighting this Udyr. And it's a nice solo kill by the Ezreal in the mid lane. Is chunked down, has to go back to base, but also Vincent down bot lane. Working on that inner turret is a threat in his own right there.
Well, they need to be careful. Hold up. Ezreal's also joining the fight, so if they just slow fight this, then it's gonna be a disaster class. Ezreal ult just barely misses. Gone like the wind as Wango Unchained is getting hit up with so much damage. Triple knockup from there, but Spoobert is able to maintain that kill. Here comes Nocturne, 1v3. However, you are not the most consistent damage. Don't go wide. Final Spark finds no one. And the flash away, still a threat. They're hungry for a kill. They're hungry for some kind of response. Wow. Look how much damage that did, by the way. But they're able to escape just barely, but barely is good enough.
Bit of an overextension from Mint trying to get that flash Q onto someone who is already out of range. I think if he held that flash, could have gotten to Ezreal. And while all that was happening, Vincent's got himself an inner turret down bottom lane. That is a lot of gold into the Rise's pockets.
That amount of chunk change. And honestly, the big winner there was Strawberry Era. This Udyr has been able to just maintain a threat status and has just dodged death so many damn times. Falls eventually, yes, in the few times that it does happen, but you're buying so much time and the right people on your team are getting the kills. Look at this Ezreal now, Triforce, and as well as a nice little blue man immune. I hope I did that one right, or I'm gonna lose it.
Yeah. Loveless going in on Fortune.
Oh my goodness. But here comes Lights Out. No point in click ability needed, but I think they're just gonna go ahead and give that one up. Whoa. See, you gotta be careful. You are a tree, but you can't be chopped down with an axe. Yuri attempting to go on forward, did arcane shift aggressively. When an Ezreal does that, it really shows the state of the game. That's confidence. That's knowing your team's got your back. That's being 5-1.
Ezreal's 5-1, and Fortune on this Lux kind of struggling in this game. Should be able to kind of play the range game, sit back and, you know, try to minimize those deaths, but instead has been getting a little aggressive and is paying for it, has paid for it several times now. Solo lanes for To The Moon still in a pretty good spot. I think Yone and Tom Kench have the potential to kind of accelerate this game, but now Spoobert is able to match Dwango a lot better than he was before. And Nocturne needs to start finding maybe a kill on this Ezreal. I think that's what To The Moon needs to get. They need a way to, come together to take Ezreal down, because otherwise he is going to take over.
And as well as the split lane pressure. This is what we need to see from this unit. You did secure the grubbies for a reason, so why not use that and being able to get more gold, get more map presence. The problem is that the Pantheon is ready to pounce at a moment's notice within a flash, so it's a constant threat you got to be careful of. And speaking of Ezreal, you talked about it earlier, here comes CU. Twisted advance forward, is able to land the CC up, gone, done, dusted, shut down. Gold goes in the favor of this Nocturne, maintaining that strength. Great CC chain. Those are key abilities, but look at this one. Rise just trying to fight, but look at that, being able to fight back now. This is a scary mid laner that's been able to transform and survive laning phase.
Has those empowered steel caps for the Rise. Really hard to take out with the, high reliance on attack damage to the Moon's comp has, at least as far as sustained damage goes. They have some AP burst. The Tahm Kench does some decent AP damage, but yeah, if you want to take out that full Rise health bar, you need more than just a Lux ult. And so it is going to be To The Moon starting up this Drake, but Strawberry Ira seems like they want to fight it.
No, I think they really have to start peeling back. Honestly, this is a really dangerous fight to go ahead and take, but the double TP, those are two isolated members, however, and going directly into the loving embrace. Here comes Fortune, has to flash away, but attracted some attention. Great little usage to the final spark. It gets a little bit of tick damage, a little bit of poke, but that is it. This is the problem in these extended fights. There's only one who's gonna rule all above, and here comes Pantheon. Yuri secures the first kill of the fight, and Pantheon is able to follow it up quickly and quietly. Vincent slayings out Mint, and this is what I was afraid of. Extended fights like this, only one will be able to get that victory. That's gonna be Baron.
That should be the Baron taken. Fortune does have that final spark, could try to steal, but in this season, jungler smites are stronger than ever, so it is a much taller task. No vision for the Lux either, and yeah, the Dragon does give Soul Point to the Moon Galatea, but the gold that Strawberry Ira is about to get from this Baron, I think will be more than worth the threat of that Soul. The Soul hasn't even been claimed yet, and so Baron goes down, and it's a risky Dragon start from To The Moon that now gives Strawberry Ira 5,500 gold lead.
The strength of Ezreal is starting to rear its nasty, ugly little head, huh? And oh. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, given the composition that Strawberry Ira has, I'm a little surprised to see this build from Fortune. Gets his back stopped by the Ezreal ult, but it's but the burst-oriented build, when there's only really one burstable target on the enemy team who has a dash, is able to play at range, is kind of a risky proposition to me.
Oh yeah, you're able to bait for your jungler, but honestly, this is still a very dangerous fight to take. Look at that damage. If Spoobert turned to try to fight it out, that could have been a different story, but because of that fear, unable to do so. Final spark trying to be utilized to clear this wave, but this Lux is just running for dear life. Level 13, so we're not going to see the level 3 final spark get any work done, but look at Vincent. Level 16 Rise has Baron buff ready to go. This is a very scary burst mage that is ready to fight and ready to rumble, and as well as you mentioned earlier, upgraded steel caps. That guy's not dying anytime soon.
Has the actualizer completed as well, so he is very tanky and is going to hurt. Here comes Tahm Kench though.
Yep, trying to go for the fight, knowing that's going to be split amount of members, but I think the window and opportunity of it is dissipating quickly. They're going to get the initial burst down, but now their attention is waving. The HP bars are going down quickly on both of these sides. Nice little job by the Tahm Kench to keep the jungler alive, but this is the issue. This Baron buff is starting to rear its ugly head. Mint needs to go crazy here, but this is the problem. You're going against someone with a point-and-click CC, gets the shutdown, but you won't be able to get much afterwards, however. So honestly, that's not a good trade. They're going to go ahead and keep marching down mid. Really wanted to kill that Pantheon CJ Lopez as fast as possible before the stun happened. But because of that Baron buff and the additional stats, just was unable to do so. And because of that, this mid tower will go down slowly but surely.
It does get one Baron buff off. Oh, nice ult from Fortune. But oh wait, hold on. Rise could die here.
Oh my goodness, Rise, yeah, hold on. Actualizer might be able to get a huge amount. It's barely stays alive. Is up, great job. Oh my goodness, light binding from down under. Fortune is able to snipe it out. And a great little kill. You needed that. Now you have a small chance, but because of how long this fight has been going on and no Ocean Dragon to try to get your stats back, to try to get any of your resources, they're going to go ahead and keep on fighting. Oh my goodness. Yuri is looking to carry this fight. They know it. The TP is burned. This is a really dangerous fight to go on and take. Fortune does burn the snare, but does find its mark on one. But this is it. This is what you need to be careful of. Here comes the CC chain. Great job by Wango. Need to go ahead and bail your teammate out.
Wait.
Oh no, you still had it on? Oh my goodness. Final sparks. There's been 3 I've seen so far. Great stuff on the cooldown, but the damage is surely not to follow. This is bad. This could actually be the end of it all. That minion wave is coming up, and these death timers, Potato, they are very, very long.
Fortune is alive, and I think that is going to mean that Strawberry Ira do have to call things off. Dragon is up in 15 seconds, though, and the death timers are much longer than that. So that should be the stacking stopped again by Strawberry Ira, giving them a chance to work towards the soul themselves, or maybe try to close it out before it comes into play again.
Once again, this was like the huge pressure point that DMG to the moon really wanted to have. They were able to secure those dragons early, and one of them was done by sacrificing their entire team with a nasty little team fight. But because of that, you're leaving yourself open to these kind of fights, and the consistent damage that is being shown here with Rise Ezreal is so deadly to deal with. Look at that item. Oh my goodness, increased tenacity. I like this.
That is going to be devastating to deal with. It's going to be so hard to kill Ezreal. He also just gets so much healing off of that item. Gigady's looking for bot, though.
Oh, they're going to go ahead and try to get it down there. Vincent gets feared up, and the final spark does land, but that's tickle damage, honestly. You're able to get down there. Oh, my goodness. Here comes Rise. Has the damage and makes them fall. Spoobert trying to get this damage down, but honestly, it's a ticking time bomb. Here comes Yuri. Yuri's ready to go. Yone, it needs to be the sole damage provider, but locked up with the CC chain. Has a little bit of shield. Needs to get something down. Here it comes. Great stuff. Trying to make sure that the mid laner is able to get out there. Mint needs to go huge. Mint has no HP to follow. Mint is down as well. I think this is finally it.
This could be the game here. The teleport is coming into mid lane. There is a wave bot as well. Pantheon ult going to be committed to this ending play as well.
Oh,
Spoobert just wants to keep him off the wave.
Yeah, trying to do so, but already Pantheon being able to just kind of bypass that one. Oh, but the fear.
Oh wait, hold on.
Not being able to get this done. Final spark goes wide on a fear target. No, that was a crucial ability that needed to land. And there goes Ezreal, the root. Yeah, it's still a good amount of time, but being able to have increased tenacity no matter what is still going to be very helpful in the long run. So, second lease of life, thank goodness to the stall. But I'm starting to get worried. Baron is up, and Giggity is showing bot lane. This could be free, or at least they can get ready to set it up.
The waves are pushed in deep in mid and bot. Spoobert also actually doesn't have the teleport, but Giggity is down here and also does not have his ult. Needs to get back, and that should be a free Baron. Rise can kind of just tank it up. He's got what he needs. CJ Lopez makes an appearance, and Yuri will be there to provide the DPS now.
Actualizer is just like a gun at this point, and they've got no bulletproof vest in order to try to mitigate the damage. 50 caliber on here. Here comes the extended fight, but this is all for naught. I think Loveless will be able to just kind of stay alive. That's a free pick, but utilizing an ult like that one, great stuff in order to get away. Hold on, that could be a huge one, but Yuri gets away. Yuri survived. Great flash forward that gets the snare as well, but the damage is just not there. Big shield to work with, a double up, but honestly, who cares? Look at the base. Udyr's there and just wants to end it now. This fight is just for style points, but it's for naught. TP here, you're gonna go to your death. Fortune trying to stall, but I think Spoobert, instead of chasing to end the game, wants to pad the stats a little more, and I cannot blame ya. A little bit of a heart attack start, but I think this is going to be the end. Great stuff by Strawberry Era as they take it 3-1.
3-1 the scoreline for Strawberry Ira. I said, back in game number 1, if To The Moon could overcome that first game curse, that would maybe be what they need to take them to the next phase. But unfortunately, that game 1, we keep talking about it. Feels like it set the whole tone for the series, as Strawberry Ira from that point on was, reasonably dominant, except for the game before this one. And this was probably in a lot of ways the closest game we had. I mean, we did see To The Moon putting up a big performance in the early game, but not big enough. And I think two things that these compositions need are, hard CC and consistent damage. And I feel like the consistent damage was a serious pain point for To The Moon in this game. The health bars on the side of Strawberry Ira were oftentimes just a little too big or a little too slippery for them to get through.
That's the weaknesses of having a mage bot lane. Like, Mel was able to mitigate that by being able to pump out ability just like that. But the problem is when you're playing Lux, you have your whole full combo, but then what? You have nothing. And we saw that literally after a 1v1, Ezreal just kept hitting attack after attack after attack after attack, got so much damage down. I mean, it was a great showing with the Tahm Kench. I feel like was able to do it, but the problem is that Udyr doesn't care. Udyr doesn't need these kills and is willing to take these deaths. Sure, you're able to get Tahm Kench hands, but that's not a carry top laner. And at the end, because of that, this is the first time bot lane has become a hazard and a tripping point. And it costed them the entire game because Ezreal was just able to consistently stay safe, had a secure front line that had point-and-click CC.
Point and click CC makes those Ezreal skill shots unmissable and just buys so much time for him to do his thing. For the side of To The Moon, they needed to get on top of that Ezreal, but doing so just felt like a death trap. If you don't go in, you just get DPS down. If you do go in, you get CC locked and killed anyway. So that's a really hard situation to play it out. I feel like the side lane maybe could have been an angle for them to play through, but even that is really difficult when there's a Pantheon in the game that can just show up at a moment's notice and make any fight a 2v1.
Yeah, it's the first time the bot lane got volatile, and it spelled the end of it all. Great stuff to Strawberry Era. They were able to really center themselves and just say, like, "Hey, we had a great stuff and showing. We got kicked around a little bit, but we're still plenty capable of what we're able to do." Whew. That's, it's been fantastic. I think both of these sides, both of these players, and all of them have really pulled out a lot. But I know there's plenty of y'all sitting in your chairs, smiling, saying, "Oh, I would have done that easily. I would have freed that up." And you can go ahead. Why not put your money where your mouth is? Why not put the skill shots in there? Put it in the bag of the summer 2026 scouting grounds here on April 14th to the 23rd. If you want to make yourself known as a legend, make sure that you can show up and make it so that you can go ahead and make it your stomping ground. Join up on discord.gg/Titan Esports and show up on the ground, because there's only one way to prove it. You gotta
make sure you read that announcement post, because each elo bracket also has their own separate scouting ground. So make sure you find the right date within that April 14th to 23rd range for yourself.
Yeah, you have to read. Sorry. All right, but fantastic stat. Freedom Potatoes, any closing thoughts about that series? Because it was a heart attack for both sides.
I mean, despite the 3-1 scoreline, I do feel like this is a series that could have gone the other way if just a few things had gone differently. It really felt like game 1 things were just getting, warmed up for the side of To The Moon. They were maybe a little too hot-headed, and they cleaned a lot of that up in game number 3. Even in game number 4, I think they cleaned, their soloing just cleaned up some of those mistakes from game number 1. But that draft for Strawberry Ira was just really tough to overcome. Yeah. Once they found a little bit of their footing in that last game. And so it's sad to see that To The Moon Galatea will be leaving us after having such a strong season, but congratulations to Strawberry Ira moving on. I mean, this has also been a great showing from them, and I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of run they make.
Yeah, and you could be able to keep up with the channel if you can follow on here, keep up with more of the action. Be sure to keep it up. Great stuff as we move deeper into the bracket. I have been Wolfie Scratch. This has been Freedom Potatoes. Thank you so much for watching.